Hello everybody, welcome back to another Monday edition of our live streams. We do these every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we got some pretty great stuff that we're hoping to unpack in this live stream tonight. And as the title or the thumbnail implied, it's about running a six-figure business or a six-figure blacksmithing business. Now this is pretty well unheard of. As you know, most people think that this is an unheard of type deal, but it is entirely possible. So we're going to be sharing some thoughts and some concepts of how you can take where you're at now and you can escalate that up to where you can actually make more money and actually start being able to provide yourself a decent income, a really decent income to live off of.
Yeah, I think this is a good follow-up to last week's. If you missed last Monday's live stream, it was talking about starting a blacksmithing business from scratch. And so, just starting in, you'll be working your way up to this level. But if you've been doing it for a while or you have more advanced level skills, this stuff will especially apply to you that we're talking about tonight.
Yeah, definitely. So acknowledge everybody. County Line Forge, hello, James. Good to have you here. April Langley, hello. Fungi Forge, I think is how you pronounce that. Hello, hello. Jason Sullivan, good to have you here. Donald Roberts, hello again. And Hammer Time in New York, hi. Good to have everybody here. And so this ought to be a pretty good thing. We're going to talk for just the replay value here for a little bit about kind of what the topic point is around the six-figure portion of running blacksmithing businesses. So at some point you're going to have to take and grow your shop from running kind of the mom and pop phase of business. The mom and pop phase is usually about the time that you're starting to get serious about blacksmithing as a possible income, but you haven't made the full leap yet, and there's some things that are usually holding you back. Healthcare is one of them. Security, and I'll do quotation marks for security. You like to have that secured paycheck every week from the boss. Maybe you're not having the time to be able to put out more product because you have to split your attention between your work life at work and your work life at home. Like when you get home, and also figuring out how to still be a real human being in between all of this, right? So the only way that you're going to progress to a point in your business that you have the capabilities of being able to make six figures is that you have to move out of the mom and pop phase and you have to actually take the business seriously. So this means you're going to be going all in on this as an investment, come what may. So we've got CPU at 100% here.
Yeah, let me see if I can do anything about that.
Hold on, folks. Hopefully we're still coming in good and we haven't went dark on anybody. Looks like it's still running. 100% CPU.
I'm not sure what's maxing out.
Let's see.
You can keep going.
I know.
Keep an eye on it.
Okay, so Jessica's going to keep an eye on that. Hopefully everybody is still in the stream. If the stream is coming in good, give us a thumbs up in the comment section or say we're here or good stuff's here or what. So just let us know that you all are here.
Alright, I think I found the background process that popped up. I think we're good now.
Okay, there's a background process that popped up.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Loud and clear. Good. So taking your business to the next level. There are no companies out there that are doing six figures right now currently that are in blacksmithing that are not putting all their money, effort, time, energy into running their business. They are not splitting their attention between a day job where they make, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year, maybe $150,000 a year, who knows, and then on the weekends they're running a six-figure company. That's not how that works. So it does require quite a bit of commitment from you. It is entirely possible to do it, and there are several companies that are doing it. I have one friend of mine, of course I don't know any of his specifics. He's a Beckett Forge. He does a lot of architectural ironwork, railings, things like that, and he has several employees. He has about 7 or 8 employees now, and he has more work stuffed to the gills than he can even handle. Mm-hmm. He has more work. He turns down work, and I mean talking thousands upon thousands of dollars in these jobs. He turns down work. So, and I'm sure he's making well over, just through conversations with him, he's making well over 6 figures in his business, which is needed because he has employees now that also live off of that. Mm-hmm. So this brings another interesting topic. The more overhead you have, so say you have a 6-figure business that is, when we think 6 figures, the human psyche instantly goes to $100,000, right? Mm-hmm. 6 figures. That's just the tip of the iceberg. So say if he had a $360,000 a year company, and that's how much he brought in, but he had 10 employees. So 9 employees plus himself. They can all, at maximum, full tilt, be getting paid $36,000 a year. Mm-hmm. That's if it was equally shared like that, and that's not talking about the overhead of the business. We haven't even talked about overhead yet. That's right. Just employees alone. So therefore, we know that, okay, he's making, you're going to make a lot less than that. Somebody's either going to be shortchanged, or in order to earn 50, 60K, you start dropping off employees, and you start spending more time in your company. So we have been fortunate enough, and we've been blessed enough in our company and our business that it's me, and then it's Jessica. Mm-hmm. Jessica handles all the PR and the different stuff inside, and she gets PR for people who don't know. That's public relations. That means responding to emails. I respond to a good amount of emails as well. We tag team quotes. Answer anything she can't answer on emails. I answer. Right. Or we'll sit down together, and it's this constant flow. Yeah. It's this constant flow in traffic, and we are very, very blessed that they can have that in our company and in our business. Now, again, that we don't know what our numbers are this year, but in the years past, we have made $85,000 gross before, as far as, and that's gross. That's that's gross. It's totally income. It's not profit. So we plan on doing an entire in-depth online course on running a 6-figure blacksmithing business, what it takes, some products and project models and things like that you can use to elevate your business to that point. So tonight is going to be all about concepts to start getting you to think about your business, how you can apply what we're sewing into you on these weekly live streams, all the 3 minutes at 3s that we do, and all the business related questions that we answer every day on a daily basis in our emails and chats and forums and you name it. We answer a lot of business related questions, and we want you to start thinking outside the box how you can really implement those things to start earning more money in your company. Is that right?
Yes, it is. Yeah, we got if you're ready for a few comments here, we got a few.
Yeah, let's go with
a
couple comments real quick.
Sure. County Line Forge says, I'm on the bubble between mom and pop shop and full time. I just work extra long 18-hour days to make it all work. Haha.
Yeah, been there, County Line Forge. So you are actually right there at the tip of the iceberg on you're about to pop. Basically, you just said that you're on the bubble of the mom and pop shop. And doing it full time, and you're about to cross over there. So that's where you have to start deciding for yourself. Do I want to do this as a career? Do I actually want everything that comes and tails with this, and can I survive off of that? Because yes, you can, but you have to work. You have to double down on it, and you have to hustle harder than you've ever hustled at your day job, guaranteed. Mm-hmm. Go ahead,
the Pickled Hammer Forge says, how do you deal with loss? I lost my shop in a windstorm yesterday and halted everything. Rebuild, I know, but when things like this happen, how do you deal with the lost business?
Whew. Man, so first of all, so sorry for your loss on your shop and everything like that. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there on it. how you deal with your loss of business is the first thing is whenever there's a calamity that happens, you have got to not go into freak out mode. I know it's really easy for you to do that, but you need to slow your roll there, big trucker. The first thing that you may think that you need to do is go ahead and just call everybody, get a hold of all your clients, and just say, hey, look, I lost my shop. I don't know when I'll ever get this out. I feel bad. I'm going to give you your money back, and yada, 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 yada. And really, a lot of times that customer is more than willing to wait on you to get your shop rebuilt or to pick up the pieces, because there was some connection of why they bought from you in the first place. And hopefully it's because you were a genuine human being to them and they understand that, and so therefore they understand stuff happens in your life, right? And they're just not so quick. I mean, there's some people that they can't take that because they really had a deadline. So say they had a deadline, it was an anniversary and it was supposed to be done that week, right? That you lost your shop. Those people, most likely, you're going to have to work a deal with them. You're probably going to have to give some money back. That way, it's just right. So this way they can get an anniversary gift somewhere else, right? Or a birthday gift or something.
There's one thing we've done before on a few projects like that where you haven't been able to get it out by their anniversary. And that's provide them with a handmade card or one that they could print off, saying, special items being hand forged for you. And then just kind of leave it it'll be coming soon kind of thing, and then they have something to give to their spouse when they're celebrating their anniversary.
Yeah. So just to be full, just to be at full, full candidness. A lot of people don't know this, but I suffer from quite a bit of severe carpal tunnel, and I have for a lot of years, and it comes from me being dumb. And when I worked in the heating and air conditioning trade, and then there was a few adjustments that I had to do to my hammer style, that I used to swing some really large hammers and stuff, and that did not help the issue at all. And so there has been times where I've had to take an entire week or two off of forging just because I just couldn't pick up a hammer. Okay? And I had to do that for my own personal health, and I had to let people know. And people came in and they wanted the product, and I just said, hey, look, I'm in a bit freak out mode because no one else is going to do the work like I would do the work for them. And so therefore I was in a bit of a freak out mode. But, we calm down, okay? Well, if we lose the business, we lose the business on that, on that particular transaction. But we can still, we can still maybe get you something. We'll get you a card and say it's to be, it'll be coming out maybe in another month or something, or when Roy's back in the shop or this or that. And then people have genuinely been very, very, very accepting of that. So, don't feel like it's all lost already as it is as business. And I see everybody's comments coming in. We're going to answer them as soon as we can. And I saw somebody had a birthday, so happy birthday. But I just really wanted to take this, so yes, you can rebuild your shop. How do you deal with the loss of the actual business? And that's what we're talking about with that is, try to find ways of not losing that business, not losing that customer's trust. Because life happens to people, and they got to understand that you're not the Wally world, right? You're not the Walmart of the world here. Yeah. You don't have 8,000 employees. It's just you, right? You don't have something where you just pop open a shop tomorrow like that and get it done. So that's my encouragement to you is other. I don't care if you put up a pallet building with a tarp strewn across it. You need to hustle on the back end. You can do a lot of things for cheap. Blacksmiths have been smithing with cheap for a long, long time. So if it's still knocked it flat, if you have some sort of tooling and some sort of ambition, you can still work at those things, however inefficient or inconvenient as it may be. So I hope that answers. Once again, so sorry for your loss of your shop. We'll be praying for you on that that'll work out better for you. And hello, everybody who's come into the live stream. I'm sorry. This is going to be a good one. We're here for, like I said, we're slotted out for about 2 hours, so you can come and go as you please. You can watch this on the replay at wherever point you missed it at. Some people like to watch it on 2x speed on the playback and stuff. You feel free to do that as well if you miss something. but we hope to get everybody's questions answered. The main topic is a 6-figure blacksmithing business tonight, or how to run one.
Nick DePerma says, are apprenticeships still attainable? I'm trying to enter this field and want the most experience possible to start my own business from ground zero.
Okay, so there are still apprenticeships available, but usually they are called kind of like internships now, and there's a couple different ways that companies go about doing that. One of them is where you pay for your apprenticeship. That means you pay that smith to teach you, and you work on his projects and his work, because just having another person standing in the shop who doesn't know what they're doing, it actually slows the progress of that company down quite a bit. So training actually takes time, and training can take up to about 90 days for just simple tasks in the shop. So if a company is usually into that sort of thing, it's usually a very large company. Maybe they already have employees, so this way the boss specifically, or the head smith, doesn't have to sit there and train you. He can put you under another guy, and that other guy can, he can sacrifice a little bit of that other guy's productivity time for 90 days to bring you up to speed on everything. And so that's where you might find like a free apprenticeship type deal. Try to think what you can provide of value. So maybe you can't do blacksmithing just yet, or you know nothing about blacksmithing, but maybe you know something about machining. Maybe you've done something in fabrication. Maybe you've done something in computer work, right? Or maybe you've done some other type of value in like design work, or maybe you're good at drawing or drafting, or who knows? Who knows what your specialty is? Try to offer that to the smith in return if you can't financially pay that type shop or that smith to do it. In small shops like mine, I have a very small shop. I'm a 1 employee only. I am the owner. I am the operator. Jessica's a co-owner, but she donates her time, essentially.
Volunteer.
So, volunteer, right? So she is volunteering her time to the company, but we work in it together, right? So that there, I can't have 15 apprentices in the shop. If the shop's too small, it won't work for that. It's tough enough just to even have one guy in the way when I'm really hopping and skipping. The shop's been designed basically around me. And so you can go to places like Abana. You can go on their website. Sometimes they put stuff like apprenticeship opportunities, or people will put like in their classified sections like a call for applications for a blacksmith or shop help. That's a great resource there. So go to like abanablacksmiths.org or something like that. Go there. I think that's the website. Abana Blacksmiths. Is it just abana.org? Okay.
Yeah.
Go to abana.org and check it out there, and that should help you. Other than that, try to start doing something at home.
Yeah.
Even if it's a dryer, a hair dryer forge stuck in the ground, try to start getting some experience and start building up your repertoire in that.
Yeah, you also may be interested in 2 videos that I've done on the channel before. One is called 10 Craft Schools That Teach Blacksmithing in the United States. They have, a lot of those schools, they have work-study programs. So one example of this is John C. Campbell Folk School in Brasstown, North Carolina. Their work-study program is something like 9 weeks long. And so you spend, I think, 6 of those weeks working, and then they give you 3 weeks worth of classes, and during that time they're covering your stay and your food. So that's a really good option if you have a lot of time available to you, where you could do a large time block like that. And then after building up your skills in a type of exchange like that, then you could actually, a bunch of the other craft schools, they have just an season long you're the overview of the shop. I forget what they call that, but when it's the person in the shop that maintenance
you're like the artist in residence there, or what are they? It's a residency of some sort, you know. Sometimes they call it an artist in residence, but that's more applying to somebody who has skills already in that field. So it's just more like a residency in there. Basically, you become like, I forget the name. I forget the official title of what that is.
I was going to say, go look at, if you're interested in something like that, look at Touchstone.
Center for Crafts. They've got a really good program on that. A really awesome, stellar program on that. So check out Touchstone Center for Crafts. Okay. You keep going? Oh, by the way, Donald Roberts said, happy birthday. So I didn't miss you up there. I want to acknowledge that. Yeah, the 5-0. The big 5-0. I'm going to be the big 3-0 in October.
David Burson said someone would make a killing if they could create a VA funding approved blacksmithing school. So hard to find them unless it's an art-based school in the Northwest United States.
Yeah, so I don't know a whole lot about the Northwest United States. I don't think there's a lot of schools out there, blacksmithing schools. They're popping up all the time. You kind of have to check Google from time to time because, you know, they're getting up there. I don't know how the VA funding would work, as, you know, they don't, well, they're a slow train to nowhere if you need benefits. But that's a rant for another time. But you know, if you go to a lot of art schools, yeah, they have discounts, they have military discounts and things like that. But yeah, you might be able to make a killing off something like that if you could get funding for specifically veterans.
Jay Sanders says, I am one of the unlucky ones and had to make the jump without being able to build up a solid client base. Got going pretty good, but then the city shut me down and I had to find a new shop. Yeah, especially if you're working within city limits, I'd say that's you're going to have where you run into that higher probability. Yeah,
you know, that is always one of those risks. You know, here fortunately where we live way out in the country. My landlord, before he passed away, he was a blacksmith for a lot of years, a long time, like 50 some odd years, and you know, there's a blacksmith shop. It's like a little old welding garage type place. It's still in business from like I think it was in 1930 or something when it got started up front, and it's like still in place, and it's got a little blacksmith shop in it, and so none of the neighbors, they're all around metalworking and grinding and welding and kind of things like that, and so I've really been blessed with where I'm at to be able to do it from my home location. You know, that's one of those things where the overhead really bites you when you have to go into the city or you have to rent a space, things like that can really dip into your coffers for sure. I would like to encourage you to maybe take a drive around the country, maybe not too far. You know, try to find somebody that would be willing to let you use maybe a barn or rent a section of their barn. Sometimes, like here in Ohio, you can find places where where people will let you rent a portion of their barn or a stall of their barn. You know, they got a 22,000 square foot barn, you know, and they rent stall space for storage and who knows what else. And a lot of times it's pretty economical. It's actually really cheap that way, and it's a great way for them to make some extra money and be able to pay on their taxes and yada yada yada, things like that. Just let them know what you're doing, and you know that's what you're into, and that may help you in on that. But yeah, anytime you encounter a difficulty that upsets the apple cart, you know, you're going good, business is kicking along, and then all of a sudden, boom, calamity happens, right? Something goes down. A tool that was crucial blows up and you don't have the money to replace it, right? Or you're clicking along good and all of a sudden, boom, the engine went out in the vehicle. I've had that happen.
Yeah.
And had just thousands of dollars sitting on the line. You go into a panic mode. But any decisions made in haste is a bad idea. So take what you're learning from this experience and apply it for the next one, because there will be a next one. There's always going to be some roadblock or a big bump in your road. Take what you're learning right now and apply it into the next business to better hedge against. Why were you kicked out of your shop? Why did the city shut you down? Was it a noise ordinance? Was it a air pollution ordinance, things like that. I don't know your specific situation, so I can't really say, but you do know what your specific situation is, or you should. So apply that going forward on the next place to pad yourself against that and have some protection there. Also, it's good to develop a bit of capital in your company. When you start doing this as a business and you're doing it as the mom and pop thing, it's really easy to treat the finances that come in from the business as fun money. This is my beer 30 money. This is my go to the lake money. This is my whatever money, right? And then we seldom give it a thought that something might happen.
Yeah.
In an instant that changes that little fun money, and now I'm having to give a bunch of money back.
Yeah.
Right? All of a sudden. So having some sort of padding of capital can really greatly help you, because a lot of places demand rent up front, like a month's rent up front, or leases, things like that. They require a full month's payment of lease up front. And so having that in place will help you in the future as well.
Yeah, it's like having an emergency fund for your business.
Yeah, it's like having an emergency fund for your business. I call it capital. That's because that's what it is. You should be sitting on some sort of capital gain that you can use in the event of a piece of equipment going out, a fine you have to pay, a truck blow a gasket or something, and it's your work truck and it's your thing. You have that type of money to sit there. If you do any sort of installation work, or maybe you tromped across some lady's carpets by mistake, or something from your boots bled through your drop cloth, and now you got to have a steam cleaner, steam clean the lady's carpets or something like that. That little bit of that protection sitting on some capital there will help you in a lot of ways, in a big way. Sorry to hear that your business was shut down by the city. It's unfortunately, a lot of people do not like home entrepreneurs, or they don't like entrepreneurship. There's some counties and some cities that they encourage it a lot, and they love seeing small little mom and pop shop businesses pop up all over the place, and they're really easy and laid back on that. And there's other locations in the world that they just want the industrial dollar. And it doesn't matter what you do in that county, you're never going to make them happy. Yeah. So that getting on good with your neighbors is a great way of protecting against that as well.
Mm-hmm. Jay Sanders said, with my last statement, yes, I would have liked to have been established, but I wouldn't change a thing. We are still building our business knowing it's going to be slow.
Yeah, and that's a great attitude to take on that, Jay Sanders. You understand that this is a long game. Right? You understand this is a long game. A lot of people see as like, oh, well, I've got to make, if I start my business today, I need to make $85,000 by the end of this year. And that's just not how it works. It's just not how it works. It's a long game. It takes a while to build up clients and build up that client base. And all of a sudden they start buying from you. You get repeat customers. And then you get word of mouth, right? And then that word of mouth spreads. And then people in the community knows about you. And then all of a sudden, some community organizer wants you to come teach at some place, right? And then before you know it, some city is wanting you to commission some sort of large work or piece. And then you get on that, and that's done. And then they talk to somebody else in another county about you. And then all of a sudden you're getting recommended for that work and things. And that just takes a long time to build up that type of business. It doesn't just materialize overnight.
Even with doing stuff online, even that takes time too, for Google to start picking up on your different hooks you've put out there in different places, whether it's an Etsy store or your own website or your social media. It does take time for it to percolate.
Yeah. So Drayson69, either getting ready for supper, wanted to ask Roy and Jessica a question. Smiley face. Go ahead and drop it in the comment section. Hopefully we can get to it. If you got my message on first. Facebook concerning address.
I haven't checked our Facebook yet.
Yeah, so Facebook is a horrible way of getting contact with us. I am not on Facebook, and Jessica checks it about once or twice a week. That's the worst way you can try to get a hold of us. The best way to get a hold of us is through our Gmail at christcenterforge@gmail.com, or you can go to our contact entry page over on our website at christcenterironworks.com
or blacksmithpdfs.com.
blacksmithpdfs.com. Contact us there, with whatever you want to do, and it's just a better way of getting a hold of us, because Facebook, we're not really on Facebook a lot. And we saw a few messages that were like 3 weeks ago that we had just neglected somehow to get to. So that's the best way to get a hold of us, Drayson69. Well,
also, talking about apprenticeships, if you're in Ohio, the Ohio Arts Council does have a program specifically for this, that if you are either a mastersmith or an apprentice wanting to get with a mastersmith, they will pay, they have a set amount that they will pay the mastersmith to train a potential apprentice as part of a grant they're doing. So check out the Ohio Arts Council if you're in Ohio, and either you're a mastersmith or a apprentice, or wanting to become an apprentice. But you have to find somebody that's willing to do this, to work on submitting the grant with you, because you got to have both ends of the party to submit the paperwork together. So I'm baiting Ohio. One of the guys who teaches at the Folk School is teaching me blacksmithing.
Awesome.
That's
cool. Yeah, David Burson. I've seen a bunch of landlords that don't want power hammers destroying their foundations because of cheap buildings nowadays. Yeah, and a lot of that can come right down to you have to take in touch with the landlord, touch base, and say, if there is any damage done whatsoever, I will repair that damage at my cost. Mm-hmm. So, you have to understand, as a landowner or as somebody that is trying to protect their investment, whether they are in debt up to their eyeballs, they're swimming in it, and they're trying to take and make some sort of flip on the equity at some point in their life, or if they own the place outright and they ever hope to sell it, it's a very hard sell to say, hey, I want to put in a big, greasy, dirty blacksmith shop that could possibly catch fire to everything and crack your foundation all at the same time. That's a tough sell. That's a tough sell for anybody. And so showing, I did a video here just very recently, and it hasn't been released yet, but basically I talked about professionalism in your shop and showing your shop, right? Like showing how professional your shop is, and talking about how keeping it clean and doing things like that. If you can show somebody pictures of your ironwork, show people of your workspace and things like that, right? And we just saw a super chat. We'll have to say thank you for that here in a second, Mr. Coffee. Anyways, showing pictures of your ironwork, showing places that you've been before where you kept everything clean, right? Where you've kept everything cleaned and kept everything straight looking and stuff like that. It reinsures people that you're going to take care of their place, you're going to take care of their stuff, you're going to take care of their space, right? Now, I get it. There's sometimes, if you look at my shop is not an example of this. It gets cluttered, there's jobs, bits and pieces and things laying all over the place. But, that's my shop, and it's been that way for a long time. I clean it up, and then it gets dirty. Then I clean it up, and then it gets dirty over 6 to 8 months of work. So, so having some proof or track record of saying, yeah, see, this is where I've come from. I always kept a really clean shop. I do a lot of good business. I'm always well loved in the community. I don't hammer after dark, things like that. Selling yourself and your services. And sometimes they'd be like, well, what about maybe making me a driveway gate? Well, you might just have to say that in order to have a power hammer. Yeah. Never know. So can you move the thing? I'm afraid I won't click on something the wrong way. So Drayson69 had said something.
Yeah, if you just want our address, it's P.O. Box. It's Chrysler Ironworks. Yeah. P.O. Box 315, New Lebanon, Ohio 45345. So hopefully you have a pen.
Yeah, Drayson69, hopefully you have that. If you need us to repeat that, ask us again, and we'll do it as soon as you got a pen ready. So, Coffee's Forged, thank you, and God bless you for the $10 super chat, sir. Thank you for funding the channel here and funding this live stream. We greatly appreciate that. So just saying thanks for what you two do. God bless you, sir. We're glad to be here. We're glad to be here, and we're glad to take and share our business advice with you. And everybody give them a hand clap. So the other one was energy management. Thank you, Energy Management, for being here.
Darren says, howdy,
Yep.
I made it back alive and well. How are y'all doing? How did the Boy Scout camp go?
Yeah.
You said you made it back alive.
Yeah.
Was that iffy?
Yeah, was it iffy? Was it in question? No.
But we're doing good.
God bless you, Darren. Thank you so much for the $50 super chat. We greatly appreciate you, and make sure everybody give them a very big hand of applause. They allow streams like this to be so. This way we can talk for 2 hours, sitting on our duckuses instead of doing our business. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel.
Drayson69 says, had a dear friend that worked for John Deere as part of a continuing education. They paid for him to take blacksmithing night classes.
Well, that's a deal right there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Can't beat that.
Get a job where they'll pay for continuing education in blacksmithing.
Yep.
All right.
And Granddad's Forge, good evening. Good to have you here.
You got a pencil now? All right. Our address is Christ-Centered Ironworks, P.O. Box 315, New Lebanon, Ohio, 45345.
Yep.
Yeah, I love the shirts. We got these are actually new ones.
Yeah, we got some new shirts. So this one's like starting to be one of my favorite. It says "Good enough for YouTube." So I love this shirt. It expresses some of my thoughts.
Yeah, it's a
Purely
you
so.
just loved it. But
Yep. And then this one's interesting. I never knew that this quote came from Francis Whitaker. But I was watching John Switzer over at Black Bear Forge, one of his older videos where he went to the Rocky Mountain Blacksmithing Conference, and they had it on a sign saying, "Get it hot, hit it hard." Mm-hmm. And it had a little underscribe of it of, a Francis Whitaker, and it had like the quote thing. Mm-hmm. So I never knew that was a Francis Whitaker quote. I've just heard it been said by other blacksmiths quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And so we put it on a shirt, and we gave credit to Francis Whitaker on it.
We did. So these are on our Teespring site.
Yep, all those are on the Teespring site now.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got some other ones too, some merch. Mm-hmm. Hold on.
I worked on these about 2 weeks ago. Coming up on
find
these
them all here.
Newer designs. Thanks, Corey Shire. So love the shirts.
I can't find my other favorite, but
Yes, our favorite's not over here right now.
It's not over here right now, but that's okay. I'm going to show the other ones we got.
Darren says, at the Boy Scout camp, they earned a total of 23 merit badges between the 15 of them, so pretty productive summer camp.
Woohoo! Awesome.
Like they were busy.
So some of the other shirts we got up on the site now is this one. Oh, it's from stone to bone to iron. That was a viewer suggestion for a shirt, so we got that one up on the website now.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that was one from one of our forging live streams. They
yep,
had that.
our forging live streams. And then I really like this one as well. Think about it. So that one's on there as well. That's another, you say that's a Roy quote right there, because I should put an underscribe there, Roy.
That should be your head.
Yeah, quoted by Roy. This should be my side profile, my face with some gears thrown on there. What do y'all think? So that's some of the new merch that's up on the store. So fun stuff. Yeah. So you said that they got 23 merit badges. That's pretty good. That's awesome. Awesome. So.
Gotta keep them busy so they'll go to sleep easily.
Yep, exactly.
In general.
Yep, you gotta keep them busy. So. Yeah, so this is some of our new merch, and like I said, you can check that out over on the merch store. Pretty excited about it, getting those in. I've got some other shirts for the professional side of thing. I think I'm gonna invest in a linen shirt for my forging. You guys have been seeing that because they've become so highly recommended. I'm gonna invest in buying a linen shirt and trying them out and seeing how I like them, and then I'm going to use that in the. I'm going to end up having embroidery done of like my logo, of like a professional shirt done. So this way when I go do demonstrations, I'm going to be doing that kind of thing as well. Roy's first tattoo, gearhead. Awesome. So, well, I don't know how to read your screen name, but hello all the way from Ohio. Mr. I'm from Iraq.
Enjoy your dinner, Drayson69.
Yep, Drayson69. Go ahead and eat. Like I said, we'll be here till 9. Usually that's how late we are here, so if you want to check back in and see how everybody's doing, go ahead and come on back in. So, all right, cool. Well, Ben Toombs, awesome to have you here as well. I didn't get to say hi yet. So we've got 38 people watching, and we're about 40 minutes in. Thank you all for being here. Here's a great time to go ahead and hit that like button on the stream if you like it, or hit the down button if you dislike the stream. Either way, it counts as engagement, and it helps the stream out, and it helps us to do a better job with our streams and stuff. Yep. Let us know what you're thinking of the stream, and also let us know what you think of the stream down in the comment section as well. You can always do that as well on the replay. A lot of the comments, none of the comments get saved. If you comment live, that they'll do it as like a live feed afterwards. But if you want to ask a specific question or pose a potential suggestion about a following live stream or something like that, you have to watch it on the replay and just put it in that comment section. And that's what and then YouTube will save those comments, just like as if it was a regular video.
Do you have a pen on you, by the way?
Yes, I do.
Okay, somebody had suggested a shirt idea. I jot down all the shirt ideas now. Not able to make every single one of them, but I at least keep a list.
She at least keeps a list of them.
It says innovate and overcome.
Yeah. So I'm going to get back on topic here for a few minutes and, talk about some more concepts of running a six-figure business or a six-figure blacksmithing business. So in that bubble, when you are, as James at Counterline Forge has said, that you're on the bubble, you're on the cusp, right, and you're kind of just, you're right there, you're working 18-hour days, right, trying to hold everything together. That is probably the most scariest part right there, of moving from a mom-and-pop shop and going all in. Running an actual factual business with LLC and the whole bit, and you're figuring out taxes and all this stuff, right? And you're saying, okay, how do I make this work? How am I paying for my own, how am I paying for my own insurance? How am I paying for this, that, medical, you name it, right? Your life stuff. I'm saying your life stuff because it's different for everybody. It's different for everybody. And we all have different needs, and we all have different levels of income and things we're walking away from, stuff we're walking into, things like that. So that is the scariest part, is that jump mode right there. But here's something that they can think about. So say, like in James at County Line's instance, he does a lot of hammers, he does a lot of tooling, he does a lot of things like that, right? And I think he's stepping away a bit from hammers and he's doing other types of tooling, yet I might be wrong on that. James, you can correct me in the comment section if I am. But you can only make so much product in a given day or time spans because the day has been broken up, whether you like it or not. We all only have 24 hours. So many of those hours, preferably 8 hours or more, is supposed to be spent on sleeping and resting, right? The nugget, you probably have to have about 3 or 4 hours in there thrown in of just downtime, right? To relax in between work, right? And you probably have to have a couple hours thrown in there of leisure time. And I mean leisure time as in where you can actually spend time with people and be a human being, right? So you can see that time clock is getting shortened up. And then if you add a big 8-hour day, 10-hour day, or 12-hour day, depending on where you're working a day job, now you've ate up a significant amount more of your time. So this means on a project or an item that takes, say 6 hours to make start to finish, if you only have a 3-hour window every evening that you can work, it is going to take you 1 1/4 or 1/3 forging sessions to get that done, right? It's going to take you 1, and the reason why I say that is there's a little science behind that, but it won't take you 2 forging sessions to get it done. It'll take you 1 1/4, 1 1/3 type forging sessions. Usually, the finish work, and I'm talking putting it in a box and putting a label on it, shipping out the door, that all counts to something, but the actual forging time portion of it where you're doing active work in the shop is about like that on a project that takes about 6 hours, okay? And so knowing that, that is your ceiling. But that is a good thing to know what that is, because that also tells you how many of those items that you're working on that you can do in a day if you did not do your day job.
Yeah, you could calculate it out.
So you're going to have to get into a little bit of math for yourself. Now, we're not going to get into the math here just because, one, it's going to be snooze fest for some people. Two, I don't like doing math on camera. And, three, yeah, big boys and girls out there, you can figure it out yourself of what it looks like for yourself. So with that being said, okay, now you have an ideal of how many of these that you can make. So say it was a $100 item, you can make 3 of them a day. Say it didn't take 6 hours, right? You can make 3 of them a day at $100. You have plenty of that work coming in. Now you go back and you go to your own personal job, your work. And you have to calculate how much am I getting paid a day to work at my day job.
No.
Now, here's where it gets tricky. Benefits, right? It has been said that benefits, at least back when I worked in construction, a benefits package, like your standard employee benefits package to have insurance partially covered by the company and things like that, was worth about $4 an hour. It was worth about $4 an hour to you. And trust me, they take that off of your take home. Trust me. They held you back from that $4 an hour, for quite a long time. You got to work years to, get $4 an hour in pay raise. So, with that being said, I don't know what it is currently or what the standard average is, and it varies across industry. But you have to take into consideration what that benefits package is to you. So that means you need to find out what it's going to be for you to self-insure. Self-insure yourself. How much is that going to cost? What's that going to look like a week? And basically, what does that amount to in orders? What's your minimum amount of orders that you are going to need to do that? Do you have the ability to get that minimum amount of orders and then some? If you do, you have the right stuff to run a business full-time on your own. 100%. Because you'll surprise yourself. Because when you get out in the shop and you start kicking it and you start really working hard at it and you start refining your processes like you've never done, you start refining your processes where you're more efficient on each and every job because now you're kicking out more and more and more of that item or more and more of those multiple items. You refine your tooling, you refine your process, you refine your efficiency in your shop. You get better at doing them, and so therefore you get quicker at doing them. And then that is what progresses you to eventually having a six-figure income or a six-figure business, if you will, in the blacksmithing world. And so I'm going to take a few more questions here, and then I'm going to go on to kind of like a point number 3, if you will. We've covered like 2 other points right now that I wanted to share. Point number 3 is going to be going in a little bit deeper on how that metric actually works. How do you keep pushing that line up to earn more income? So let's take a couple questions so I don't get too far behind.
All right.
I'm not ignoring anybody, by the way.
Darren had said, is there an option to have printing on the back of the shirt? I hate printing on the front. It drives me nuts. Not that I was already nuts anyway. No, not yet. I do have a few designs that the design would be best on the back, but we haven't come out with them just yet.
Working on it.
Leafy says, I missed the clock that you have behind you and 3 minutes of 3.
Yep.
You talk about the big brown one, or?
Well, it's this one. We've got a little one here.
Yep,
no, we don't have the big brown one anymore. The big brown one's in the other room where we used to do our filming. So I guess it could kind of fit in there, but not really.
No, not quite.
Yep.
Let's see. Coffee's Forge. I paint from 2:30 a.m. till around 5. Go to work at 6. Get home and try at about 6. Try to work in the shop till 9 to 10. Start all over again.
What was that again? I paint from 2:30 till around
So you get,
AM
sounds like
till
you get
5.
roughly about 4.5 hours of sleep.
6. Get home at 6. Try to work in the shop till 9 or 10. Just roll over again. Yeah, so, don't wear yourself out to, don't, short wicket there. Now, people, I find that I work best if I get out of the house very early in the morning, and I can get a lot of stuff done before like 5 p.m. in the evening. I'm great. Or if I get out later in the day, usually I don't do too well, and I actually do pretty good until about 4 a.m. So I'm kind of weird like that. I like to work about 12 hours at a time, 12 to 14 hours. If I'm not working about that, I don't like more than 8 hours of sleep. 6 hours is about my max. Otherwise, I feel groggy. But see, that's me. So you got to work with something that you're comfortable with.
Yep, I gotta have my beauty sleep at least 8 hours.
Oh, she'd sleep 18 hours if you'd let her.
I probably would.
Yeah.
Strong coffee.
Granddad's porch. Well, his name is Coffee, so yeah, caffeine can keep you up, and then it can also crash you pretty hard too.
Mm-hmm.
So doing pretty good, I think. Is everybody enjoying the stream so far? Hopefully, you guys are taking notes and writing this type stuff down. So. Doesn't look like there's any other comments just yet, so I'm going to go ahead and go into my third part, or my third point I wanted to share.
All right, go ahead.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Did you want to share anything before I go into my third point?
I got my pen. I'll take my notes. Just joking.
All right. So, Page, howdy. How you doing? So my third point. So how do we actually implement this to, like I said, slowly progress? I like to think of it as stair-stepping, right? Of pushing up that bottom line of your business to be able to start bringing in a six-figure income into the business. Now, again, I'm going to make this real clear. When I say six-figure income or a six-figure business, that's what your business is making. That's not necessarily what you are making. So you need to be so you need to understand this. It's not necessarily what you are making. This is what your business is making, which then in turns allows you to make a pretty good wage, in my opinion. Okay, so first of all, you got to love what you do, and this is what makes this all worth it. So when we go into this next step here, here's the third step. So say you're making hooks right now, right? You're making hooks, you're making J hooks, and you're cranking out 1,000 of these every night you get home. You're cranking out another 50 of these things, another 50 of these things, and they're selling well, right? And they're selling well, and you're spending, maybe 4 to 6 hours in the evening when you get home, and it's just starting to kind of drag on you a bit, because it will. Serving two masters is eventually going to wear you down a little bit. But say you're cranking away at these things. Business is going good. You're really popular for them. They're coming in. You're making little J hooks, and this is just an example, guys and gals, making those little J hooks. Say you're putting out 1,000 of those a month. A really good J hook business, right? So you're pumping out 1,000 of those things a month. What are you selling those things for? And how long did they take? So let's just say you're selling them for $1 each for easy math. Let's just go for easy math. Like I said, I don't like doing math on camera. Say you're selling these things for $1 each. You're making $1,000 a month. Multiply it, if you sell them for $2 or $3, extrapolate that by 1,000, right? Add the 1,000 onto the end of it. What if, in order to you're coming home and you can pump out about 50 hooks, right, in an evening. That means you made $50 to $100 in an evening. Maybe that's all you can do, right? That's a $1 to $2 J hook there. You made $50 to $100 in one evening every time you come home. That's a way of looking at it. That is really great if you do not want to take this full time, and you don't really have the aspiration enough to take it to a six-figure business. but you're just happy having that fun money that we talked about earlier, right? Like, you know, you're just happy cranking out J hooks because, you know, that gives you your fun money, your lake money. You know, you're going to the boat this weekend.
New tool.
Yeah, buys you new tools or things like that. So, you know, say that's what you're happy with, that's fine. But to live on that, now that's going to get kind of tough, right? Because now it's going to get tough. This is where the math will get tough. So either the price per item has to go up, or the quantity of those items have to go up in order for you to make any more money at what you're doing, correct? So with that example, so say you need a minimum of $3,000 a month income, your own personal income coming in. We're not talking all your overhead and everything about running the business, but you personally need at least $3,000. We're just going to make this simple. We're not talking about anything complex here. Then that means you are going to have to do triple the amount of work that you're doing every evening when you get home. So if you're working 4 hours and you get out 50 hooks, you just tripled that. Now you're working 12 hours a day. You have to pump out 150 hooks a day, right, to earn that $3,000, right? Is that correct?
I think so.
Hopefully it's triple. That's on the dollar method. Or you can increase the price of the hook now, but that does a couple things for you. If you increase the price of your hook, now you are going to, as you increase the price, you're going to reduce the quantity or the flow that's coming in unless you offer a better value proposition of why you're increasing the price per hook. So maybe you add a twist, but that extra twist, now to do that twist, that added an extra 30 seconds a hook. That added an extra minute or two a hook. You extrapolate that out over 3,000 items, that's a lot. It's a lot of time getting added up. So you have to make sure that that value proposition is enough for you to continue to maintain your flow, but yet raise your price. So now let me try to break this down for you. What if you could sell a $100 item that takes you currently 3 hours to make or 4 hours to make for that same time block? Now you've just done something that gets really neat later on in business. If you can sell one thing for $100, but you had to sell 100 hooks, 100 of something to equate out to that same $100 of yield there. They both take 4 hours. They both take 4 hours to do. But here's where the neat thing comes. You're requiring 1,000 customers or 500 customers or 250 customers. You're requiring flow on one end, as where you're trying to require, you know, a quality customer or somebody who's willing to pay a larger price because they're looking to spend more money on whatever an item is. But you have to provide more value here. The item's bigger, it has more elaborateness to it, or whatever. It still takes the same 4 hour time block, but you're not rushing like a madman in that same 4 hours to get those hooks done. Right? Hopefully that math makes sense. If it doesn't, drop it in the comment section down below. Why this matters is because we're talking about scalability. In order for you to earn more money, you have got to be able to scale the products that you offer beyond you. If you have to increase the quantity of an item but keep the price the same, then you start getting into a thing where you start becoming factory made, because then you have to increase your tooling cost and your overhead to thump these things out by the thousands upon thousands upon thousands, and you become a glorified button pusher at that point. You know, beep boom, beep boom, beep boom, right? And like that's all you do, okay? You limit yourself on the skills, and you have to put out a certain flow, a certain amount of that. And that's very hard to maintain in quantiful type items. So the scalability of that is very narrow. And you say, well, I'll add another employee. I'll throw another employee at this problem. Well, you just shot yourself in the foot, because now whatever that employee makes per month, you've got to add that many more items on top.
Yeah, to cover the cost of the employee.
Just to cover the cost of the employees. So that is one of those things that isn't really scalable for a small entrepreneur or a small business. One thing, if you got free labor and they're just willing to stand there in one spot and just pound out things for nothing, pennies on the dollars for, years on end, that's one thing. But to take and have an item that you can scale up and do scalability with, that's something else entirely. Yeah. And so there's a whole slew of comments coming into the comment section. I want to answer each and every last one of them, so we're going to take a break, and then we're going to go on to my fourth point, and we're going to talk further on about the scalability.
Back it up just
all right.
Right here. Some of the comments had been about a Peter Wright anvil that went up for sale.
Okay.
Let's see. Also, Mike G. Roy and Jess, any advice on Etsy increasing the transaction fee to 5%? It's not that big of a difference. I mean, it was 3% before, now it's 5%. I mean, yeah, it's almost double, but still in comparison to having a
eBay or
eBay's 10%,
or paying an art gallery to sell your work,
30 to 40%. I mean, yeah, it's okay. You're losing a little more, but they do a really fantastic job of advertising you, even if you're not paying for the advertisement. So it's worth it. Yeah.
What I would look at it, and my advice on that is, whenever you see a company like Etsy raise their prices, I want to see what their value is and their proposition. Before I get upset at them, I'm going to see, okay, are they raising that so this way they can stay competitive on the worldwide market space of, are they trying to promote my work more with this 5%? Is it just an increase just because they want to increase because they want to make money? A lot of times we try to attribute it like, oh, well, it's the big corporation, it's evil. Right? So I'm not saying you are specifically. I'm just saying this is a common concept that a lot of people do. But they may actually be using that additional money because they need to stay, competitive in this world where net neutrality has been kind of revoked and has been in question and things. There's stuff that's just coming around now where now you're going to have to start paying your online sales tax. You're going to have to start paying taxes on your online purchases no matter what state you're in, because that used to fall on the customer, and then the customer basically didn't pay their state sales tax on anything they bought online. So they're switching some things like that. I keep fairly update on some of that news. Jessica does as well. But raising that small increase of cost of 5%, you could just translate that out to the customer. There's going to be a small little increase of 5 to 10%. I would do 10% higher wages every year for yourself anyhow, just to stay ahead of that curve. Kind of just count it as like inflation. Yeah. See what they're offering you for that. They've done a lot of changes here lately. We haven't even fully dug into every little change that they've been doing on Etsy here of recent. But they do a lot of updating, and they do a lot of stuff to promote you where you otherwise might not get traffic. So.
Mike Taylor, I'm looking at getting into forging possibly as a retirement gig in a few years, but I have to start learning hands-on first.
Yep, and that's a great way of doing it. Craft schools, they're going to be your best bet to cut off a lot of years of learning curve on you. Get in touch with your local blacksmithing guild or club or institute or whatever, and you can usually find somebody who's more than willing to help you with some hands-on stuff. And then watch videos like this, and you name it.
Jim Patterson added on to that topic. I'm 2 years from retirement, just putting at this point, but I have a little bit
putzing at this point.
Okay, just putzing at this point, but I have made a little bit selling my blades and such.
Yeah, Jim Patterson. That's awesome. And there's several people there's several people who are doing this as a retirement gig. So, you know, maybe they didn't put as much as they would have loved to in retirement, but yet they don't want to work at their company for the next 35 years either, right? They don't want to work the rest of their life. They still want to retire, right? At a standard retirement age for wherever you're at in the world. That varies. But like, this is a great way. And again, this is where you can do a mom and pop thing. So, you know, don't get hung up on numbers. Some people get too hung up on that number, 6 figures, right? Well, I'll be successful if I make 6 figures. Some people just don't need to make 6 figures. I mean, you know, I don't need to make 7 figures to feel successful at what I do. You know, if I've got lights on, my kids are fed, they can go places, they can do things, I can get them shoes and clothes and food, and we've got a pretty relaxed lifestyle, and we can go some places on the weekend, and I don't have to worry about buying them an ice cream cone. You know what I mean? If I buy them an ice cream cone, I might not be able to pay my electric bill. Like, you know, that to me, that's success. To have that extra money to put some back in retirement and things, that is successful for me. I've just been super blessed by God to be where we're at and to have the customers, and that this became a successful thing, because there was a lot of years that I felt like throwing in the towel. I really didn't know what I was going to do as a vocation. I didn't know if I was going to go to like a work today, pay today place, or what it is that I was going to be able to do. But he sustained me, and here we are. You know, here we are all these years later, right?
Yeah.
A lot of businesses fail within the first 5 years of opening their doors. I remember months where $800 gross was the income. $800 gross. That's not net.
Yeah.
That's not net. I mean, we were just barely surviving, you know, on government assistance, and, you know, just, it was a struggle. It was a struggle. Had some newborns and just, you know, life.
Yeah.
You know, it was crazy in those times. And they were pretty dry times, but we made them through it. You know, so success for me is a little bit different. So, you know, but to move it to where some people, they live in an expensive state, or maybe they don't have the same opportunities that I have been given, you know, and that I feel so blessed and fortunate, and your life story is different. And some people need to make, you know, they need to make a minimum of $65,000 a year. Otherwise, they can't cut it. Maybe they got health issues. You know, maybe they need really expensive, you know, prescription pills. I've talked to a guy just the other day that, you know, his pills costs basically cut him out of doing blacksmithing for a business. You know, for him to self-insure it and things because of the health issues he was dealing with, not going to happen for him. You know, and so again, that's kind of what spurs on stuff like this of, you know, being able to make that 6 figures. How do you scale that up and do that? But when you do things as a retirement sort of thing, if you've already put away good, you were wise with your investing and stuff like that, and then you come out at the end of it and now you're going to say, hey, you know, I still want something to do. Why not pay for your coal? You shouldn't be paying for your coal and your tools and your equipment and all that out of your retirement fund, right? That retirement fund's supposed to be to bless your life, right? Like, you've paid into that. You've already done that work.
Yeah.
Why pay yourself with your own hard-earned work back at yourself in order just so you can work more? That's kind of that's a bit of a dumb way of doing it sometimes. But congratulations on being 2 years away from retirement.
Justin Wells. Hey guys, I just made my Etsy shop and ran into the issue that Etsy said I need to be 18 years or older. Is there any way I can hook my shop directly to my banking account? I'm 17. I believe you messaged him back on that earlier, didn't you?
I did not message him back yet.
Okay.
So we did see your email. We haven't gotten a chance to get back to you, Justin Wells, on that. But we can go ahead and answer you in the live stream since that's just as quick.
Yeah.
Basically, Etsy has it set up, you know, pretty much everything for legalities is 18 years of age or older. You know, you can't sign for nothing and it be worth anything. You know, nothing's worth anything at the age of 17 for you, legally speaking. And so therefore, Etsy, that's probably not going to work that way. What you need to do is you need to get with your folks. Even I don't know how close you are to your 18th birthday and things like that. It may be a point that you just have to hold off until your 18th birthday, if maybe you're just a few months out, right? Or you need to take and work out something with your folks where, you know, they can
like
do the
account,
they can do
much.
the joint account, and then they can set up the store, in the understanding that they're just transferring that all off to you whenever you turn 18. Usually, I don't think parents have a lot of problems with that. I don't know your particular parental situation, but that is our suggestion on that. There's not really any loopholes or anything around that when it comes to like Etsy. They're pretty straight-laced about that. As you know, they could get in big trouble if they accept minors' signatures, and unfortunately, until you're 18, you're considered a minor, at least in the United States. So hopefully that answers that. Hopefully that was helpful. If it's not helpful, Justin, just converse with us. You can PM us, or you can just drop it in the comment section. We'll try to answer it again.
Steven Burson has a good question. Wouldn't creating an online store be more cost effective than Etsy and better accessibility? So for example here, comparison terms, we do have our own online store. We have ChristCenteredIronworks.com, and I created it, I think, roughly about 2 years ago. It might be closer to 2.5 years now. But as far as just organic traffic coming to us, it's maybe half the amount of traffic, or a little lower than we actually get on Etsy. And then versus the cost of doing so, you know, there's we do our website through Weebly, and there's a couple of different tiers, but I believe in order to run a store through Weebly, I believe it's about $300 to $400 a year to pay for those that tier of website services. So I would not say that it's necessarily cost efficient to just run your own website to try to avoid the Etsy fees, because although you avoid the 5% Etsy fee, transaction fee, there's still things like a 3% credit card processing that's either through PayPal or a secondary credit card processor.
And you have to pay for that website. You have to pay for your domain names. You know, all that has to be paid annually, and in some cases biannually, depending on what you've got. And so you have to break that out per month, what that costs you. So for our domain, for our store, it was
$30 a year on the domain registration.
$30
private one.
Yeah, $30 a year there, and then what else?
I think it's about $400 for a year for having the level.
Yeah,
we're at the highest level.
We're at the highest level, but that's $400 a year, and so therefore you have to extrapolate that out, divide that by 12 months, and then divide that by, you know, and times that by the product that you're selling, right? So you know, if you're only selling a few $100s a year, it's not gonna make sense to you. If it's gonna be a couple $1,000s a year, it's probably still not gonna be as worth it to you, because you're gonna be paying 50% of that $1,000 you made basically back to the website, and that's not gonna be very good.
No.
As where Etsy is a little bit, you know, you pay for things like your final value fees, your transaction type thing. You pay for listing fees and relisting kind of things, but that can be a lot lower at the 5% versus coughing money up front, basically.
Now, Etsy does have a program. I'm not real familiar with exactly how you set up to do this, but they do have a program that's kind of like an affiliate program where, or if you're just selling your own items and you're recommending going to other websites and recommending to people come and visit your sales, that if you do that and somebody purchases one of your items from a third-party website other than Etsy, but it was an Etsy link, that they don't charge you a transaction fee on that. Now, I don't know if there's a specific way you have to set that up, but if you've got a customer already that wants to purchase something and you just want to direct them to your Etsy store, that could be a really good way of avoiding that transaction fee if you're just trying to save the extra 5%. But as far as having a website, I do recommend that everybody have at least a basic website, even if it's just a portfolio one, just where you have some photographs and a little.
And there's like
information
free
about
website builders out there and
Weebly,
stuff too
yeah,
that
Weebly
puts
does
out
have
a small, but it doesn't have a lot of functionality, and you can't do a lot of design changing. It's basically like a landing page for you, but that's a great like entry level, just again to get another hit
Yeah.
Another place marker out there on the internet to say, hey, I'm here, I exist, right?
Yeah.
And that can still bring you in a lot of traffic, even though it's kind of more like an online flyer than it is a full-fledged website.
Yeah.
Lou Richards asked a good question there. Do you want to read it off, Jess?
Lou Richards. I'm not in blacksmithing, but I understand what you're saying about scalability. How do you determine what to make that might be scalable, and do you look at competition and pick something?
Okay, so that is a great question. So this is going to bring us back into, let's go on to my fourth point about scalability.
Sure.
Okay, so this is going to be the fourth point on this six-figure business model here. So how do you determine what is scalable versus what is not? And basically the way I determine that is time. You have to calculate everything by time. Your physical capabilities. Sometimes that is tooling capabilities, sometimes that is actual physical capabilities. There's only so many hours, like we've already previously discussed, that you could work in a day. And each person has to decide that for themselves. There's some people with health issues, they can't stand for long periods, like I was early on. And so scalability for me, me forging hammers wasn't going to happen back in my earlier days of forging for a business. So sitting on a stool making hooks out of a little single burner, one brick forge type thing, I could do that. And I could do that for hours, because I could sit down and do it. But if I had to stand up for any length of time to do any larger projects, like a fire poker would just take it out of me. It just really wear me out to try to stand and do a fire poker at the anvil. That's where I could knock out a whole bunch of hooks, and I'd really struggle with the fire poker. So although the fire poker I got paid more, it wasn't scalable for me at that time because I had a physical limitation that I could not do it. So the other thing there is the scalability, or the problems with scalability would be your tooling or your equipment. Sometimes, your eyes are bigger than your stomach kind of thing. Well, it's the same thing. Your eyes are bigger than your pay grade right now. And so where, maybe getting a $37,000 power hammer would be a great thing. You can make, $1.5 million off of it. But maybe that is not scalable for you right now because, like somebody else said in the stream, well, some landlords don't want you to have a power hammer that'll crack the concrete foundation. And so now you're limited by that. So to figure out the scalability of the item is different than the marketability of the item. So you've asked basically a marketability question, as where a scalability thing is where, it's on you, not on the market, not what the market will bear, but what you can bear. That's the scalability thing, because you've gotten a time block. If you just picture, say, I'm going to work 8 hours, or I'm going to work 4 hours, or I'm going to work 3 hours, or I'm going to work 2 hours a day at this, or whatever the product is that you are offering, and however long it takes you, that is what you look at for scalability. Now, marketability. That goes into your second half of your question. Do I research competition or things like that? I do not. There is no competition on a planet with 7.8 billion people. There is no competition. It is a big wide ocean out there. You just have to throw a bigger net than everybody else. That means your exposure has to be there. Marketing yourself. Getting your product in front of the right eyeballs or the buyers that have the most interest in that product. So when that comes down to things like price, right? Pricing. It's always a tough one for people to figure out pricing. But when that comes down to pricing, I have seen people pay outlandish amounts of money for what is a very simple kniff. I'm saying kniff. Right?
You're being sneaky.
I'm being sneaky on that one because our last live stream, I said some stuff about stuff. I can't say it in the stream. Basically, it was unmonetized, and we had to remonetize. It was a shenanigan. So, so kniffs, right? Really simple kniff. And I'm just like, why would somebody pay $1,000 for this thing? When sitting right next to it, something that's got antler and bone handles and mocha guards and all this other stuff on this kniff, and it's Damascus and it's all this really pretty and stuff, and it's like literally like a third that cost, and the guy's selling, and then again, that buying, that value is based differently to different people. Some people say, I don't want all that other stuff. I want a simple kniff to chop tomatoes with, right? That's it. That's all they wanted. And so for them, they're willing to pay that $1,000 for that guy. They read their story, they get into what they're doing, and they say, hey, that kniff's a great thing. By the way, Graham Pepper, thank you for the $2 super chat. We greatly appreciate you, sir. Oh, and I also wanted to answer a question for you, Graham. You asked some things about chisels. I'll get to that here in a second. So scalability is reliant upon you. How many working hours, how many solid hours can you take and do towards whatever it's doing? I mean, if you're crocheting, like, I mean, my hands would cramp after like 10 minutes and I would just be shot, man, like on that. So to take and pump out 40 sweaters a week for somebody, that's not happening with this old boy, right? But there's people, they can crochet like mad people, and they sit there for hours upon hours, 18 hours straight and crochet, and make 10 shirts a day.
Right, and you know, after a certain point to what you can do within your own abilities, there's also the scalability of, could I hire other team members to do this? And if I did, would I still be making profit at that juncture? You have to, there's a lot of factors that go into that you would have to weigh to see if you could add team members to make it for you and you'd still be in the green.
Yeah, and to find a markability of an item, there's two ways that you can find markability. And this is for scaling up of something that you want to go into that you think you can scale for your time, right? So say there's an item that you're wanting to look at. And this is a really great question, and this, like I said, it goes right along with this, so this is what I'm going to stick on for just a minute here. But say you've got that marketability. You're trying to figure out that marketability of that item. It's a tough one, but you can do it. You can Google search that item. You can look up all the keywords, all the search engine optimization around it, all the tags, the people who are the best at selling that item, the people who are the worst at selling that item. Try to get a feel of how many items do they sell. Try to get a feel of their shops, get a feel of the way they speak, the person that's the most successful and the person that's the least successful at selling these things. You want to kind of get a clear picture of where you would personally fall at in that range, and that will give you a better idea of the markability of what you are going to offer. So it's good to have a test piece or a test item that you're going to be doing. So let's say back into that knitting of a sweater, right? So here you go, you got this sweater. Woo! I'm super proud of it. But then you go in there and you find out that there's people that have way more experience, way more years on you, way more everything on you, like way better yarn than what you're using. Like they can crank them out in like a week, right? And they're selling them for half of what you wanted to pay for it. That may not be the marketable item that's right for you.
Yeah.
That may not be the marketable item that's right for you. But that's why you have to take a broad look at what that is. And don't consider them competition, consider them reference points. Like a throttle, right? Here's 0, here's 180 miles an hour. Two opposite ends of the spectrum. Maybe you can run 65, maybe you can run 85, maybe you can run 350 miles an hour. You don't know. You have to look at what's out there and then compare your value proposition compared to what that is on both ends of those spectrums. And that'll help guide you on how well an item is for you.
Yeah.
Or how well it'll do.
Definitely. And if you're trying to make an item that's a standard item, like there's a ton of other people offering it, I mean, at that juncture, you do have to look at competitive pricing, especially to see where your stuff falls. Now, if you take something that's a standard item and you put a very unique twist on it, then that's when you can start charging more of a premium for your items. So looking for a specialty niche is very important, especially when you're selling online and trying to get paid a bit more than the average.
Yep. And Graham just posed a question. Is that why Alex Steele has sponsors now, because of the word kniff? Yeah, probably a lot of it, I would imagine. Other than that, he's a very enterprising young man. And so, you know, if you were probably being offered brand deals or the sizable amounts I'm sure that they are paying him to get in front of 978,000 subscribers and over 20 million watch time minutes a month and things like that, you'd probably say yes to
Yeah.
to that. Some of it's kind of silly, like the Dollar Shave Club thing, like that. And of course, he has fun with it, so that's kind of cool. I don't think that boy can grow hair except on his head, but that's okay. It took me a long time to grow anything too. But yeah, you gotta watch saying that word on YouTube anymore. They're sissies about that. Oh, and hello, Paul's Garage. Good to have you here.
David Person are
Yep.
the people that add handles to an already shaped and sharpened blanks and claim it's a handmade kniff. Irritate.
Blank out of me. Yep. Thoughts. So don't hate the player, hate the game kind of thing. They're playing the game. That's basically what it is. They have found a product that they can sell to a specific client base that is interested in them. If they put scales on it, if they put pins in it, if they do heat treating with it, if they do hardening and tempering with it, if they do chop tests with it, if they put sheaths with it, if they do things like that, and they're actually putting craft into it of some kind, even though that is not forging out the kniff itself, it is still a viable product for a specific price point and for a specific customer base, because you cannot compare yourself to quote unquote competition. Get it out of your head. There is no such thing as competition.
By the way, that's a great point where you can set yourself apart in your listing by including somewhere in one of your photographs a picture of you forging on your knife.
These are forged, and tell about the elements of why you like forging your knives, is your kniffs. Man, they're going to be demonetized. Anyways, your kniffs, the reason why you like forging your kniffs versus just grinding it out of flat stock or doing stock removal, and how it's better, or maybe it's better for the environment because it doesn't use up so much material wastage, right? A work and angle there. One of the biggest problems with people in business these days, and blacksmithing specifically, is we get in a habit of thinking that we are the only person who exists, and that there is only a small limited amount of people that care about what you do. My hairstylist, yes, is a hairstylist, it's not a barber, right? I go have my hair done, I go get it done. Because basically, I only know two looks: it's hair or no hair. That's how I cut. That's how I cut my own hair, right? And so I had to go have somebody. Even they have ever heard of like forged in fire.
Yeah.
So now more than any time other than blacksmithing, there is a wide range of people who know things about smithing. Very limited knowledge, very base knowledge. But they do know something about it. It's even out there. They still think, wow, that's a pretty rare thing, They still think it's a very rare thing. That means you get to educate your customer. That means the market is wide open. The market is wide open. And you're going to find people who will sell $20 kniffs, and you'll see people who will sell $3,000 kniffs, and you'll see people who will sell $300,000 kniffs, $300,000 kniffs. They're all playing at different tiers, serving a different audience and a different customer base. So you have to find where yours is, and that's where I say you have to internalize, what do you need out of this item, and how does it rate, again, between those that are doing it really well, those who are doing it really poor, where does it rank in there? And that's how you determine the marketability of your item and whether you're going to be satisfied with that. Because I'm telling you this right now, you're not going to get me to make a kniff if it's under $3 million. Okay? So, there you go. You want me to make a kniff? $3 million. Start coughing up the dough. I'll make one. And it'll be the worst thing ever. It'll be the worst thing ever. Guaranteed.
But it will be made by Roy.
Yeah, but it'll be made by Roy. Roy sacrificed on his standards, and I'm going to live like a fat cat in Sweden somewhere for the rest of my life in a Swiss chateau.
Sweden, huh?
Yeah. In a Swedish chateau somewhere on a mountainside.
Lou Richard says,
Yep.
thank you both for explaining scalability and marketability. I hadn't thought about the difference, but now I get it. You did a great job breaking it down.
I'm glad that was helpful to you, Lou Richards, and thank you for posing a very pertinent question about the subject tonight. I ramble a bit, and I do get kind of ranty on that type of information, but thank you for asking that question. That is a great way to ask a question, because it really it gives me an opportunity to teach about the difference of that. So I want to talk a little bit. I'm going to go into just another point tonight. Who knows how many points I'm on? But the rarest kniff ever. Only one ever made by Roy Adams. Worth it. Are you taking me up on it, Paul? I didn't know you were wealthy, dude. But I'll take it. So I want to take this point to talk about certain stigmatisms in business. And this is one of the biggest things that hold most businesses or blacksmithing businesses back, or any type of art or craft-like business, it holds it back, is, again, thinking small. You think small with it. You think that you can't scale up. You think that your items are not worth the type of money. You're overly critical about your work, where a customer is not overly critical. They're looking at it, and maybe you're the first blacksmith they've ever had the pleasure of knowing, and they're happy paying whatever you ask. They may go down the road and they may flip on the listing page on Etsy and they might see 50 other different designs, but you know what? For some reason, you struck a chord with them, man. You struck a chord with them, and they're willing to pay it. They're willing to pay whatever it is that you asked. Okay? So you have got to break the self-limiting thought that you are the only person that does this, that you only know a few people that would buy your work, and that this planet is small. It's not. It's very, very, very large. And it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger every day. And the internet, unlike any other time, has made this craft, has made this business opportunity more accessible to all people at all different skill levels, to be able to sell a product and to be able to make an income, whether that's side income, whether that's full-time income, or what. I can't tell you how many times I've been looked at as oh, well, that's not a real business, is it? Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter how beautiful something is. It used to be that I used to be asked all the time if I shod horses.
Yeah.
Now it's if I make kniffs. Mm-hmm. It's a fad. It'll go away. It'll ride around. It'll go away, and it'll go back to horses. Or who knows what else it might come up to. Mm-hmm. Who knows whatever the next popular thing will be. And guys that have been in the craft long enough and have been in business in the craft long enough know that certain products come and go. Was a time that you couldn't sell anything if it didn't have a ram's head on it. Give it up. You weren't selling a utensil, a fire poker set, nothing, unless it had a ram's head on it. Mm-hmm. There was a time that twists were the hot item. If it didn't have a twist in it, it wasn't decorative.
Right.
You could not sell a geometric shaped fire poker with a lot of geometric facets and things. No one would buy it. Wouldn't care. Could be the most elegant, most beautiful thing. No one would buy it just because they wanted to see a twist. Put one twist in it, they sell like hotcakes. So the market within the blacksmithing community flows like that. So you've got to understand that you're part of a bigger whole. You're a part of a bigger system, and it's not just you. You may feel alone. You may feel like the only person in your family who actually cares about what you're doing in your business, but you're not alone. There's plenty of people who are willing to take and get what you have to offer. And there is a lot, and I do mean a lot, of home-based businesses out there that are thriving. Yeah. So, do not subject yourself to self-limiting beliefs and thoughts processes when it comes to the business, because that's going to hurt your scalability. That's going to hurt you in marketability. That's going to hurt you. You're going to take pay hits that you didn't have to take on an item because you looked at it and like, no one's going to buy that for that. This isn't a brag, but I basically sold a knot sculpture for $125. And I've had people tell me in a live stream before, what? Not a live stream, it was a video. It was a comment section. Which one was it? What was the thing that I did that I turned around and I sold?
Is that cross? I think you would put, is that cross made from a blank, and I think you had said that it was 75 bucks.
So I made a metal cross, and I got a video. Videos on the channel. Look for metal cross, 75 bucks, right? As making money. I was trying to encourage guys that like you can get like laser cut blanks and texture them and add some patina and stuff, and you can make money. I had a guy tell me, there's no one on this earth that'll pay you $75 for that. I sold it for $150.
2 weeks later.
2 weeks later, I sold it for $150. Well, that shut that guy up, didn't it?
Yeah.
So, again, do not subject yourself to self-limiting beliefs. That's where what will the market bear? There was other people selling a similar kind of thing, and they were all over the place. Everything from $40 all the way up to $200, all the way just anywhere in between. But mine sold for $150. I said, you know what? That's what it's worth to me. You know, for me to had to done that and make that thing, it's worth $150 to me. So this way I can cover my costs and materials and all the other stuff that went along with it. And, you know, actually like be able to put some bread on the table, and somebody had no problem paying for my ironwork that way.
Granddad's Forge, I seen your question earlier.
Paul's garage. sorry, I was laughing. Go ahead, Granddad's Forge. Yeah.
Do you do your tax? How do you do your taxes, CPA or yourself?
We have been doing it ourselves for a long time.
Yeah, we went to a CPA once, quite a few years ago. And
we got laughed out of the building practically.
Yeah.
We thought we were doing good at, you know, making $20,000 in a year, and he's like, "Don't come back to me until you make at least six figures."
Yeah.
Basically, so.
Pretty much.
Yeah, he laughed at me.
Yeah, but I read several books on accounting, and I also use GoDaddy bookkeeping. Mm-hmm. And I found that was a comfortable solution, that I was comfortable. I could understand where the transactions were supposed to go between the bookkeeping software and reading the books. And so that's what worked for me. It'll kind of be dependent on you, how much studying you're willing to do. And sometimes there's a small business association where you can get classes or have somebody help you through it. Or sometimes even just getting with an accountant or a bookkeeper to help you get your process set up. Although you don't have to hire them continually, but just help you with your process and getting it set up. That can be a solution for you as well.
Yep, definitely. So, Graham Pepper, again, thank you for the $2 super chat. And I wanted to answer your question real quick. If you're watching this on the replay, jump back into this point. I don't know if you've left already, but you asked me a question about the sharpening of the chisels and the butchers. I have a whole series in sequential order that's coming out on all these different types, and then we're going to go into projects as well. So be patient, they will come out, but the way you sharpen them is you basically take a file to them. I like using a honing stone, just like what you would sharpen a knife with, right? Or any bladed thing. I like to use that as the sharpening method. I use a file, or like a chainsaw file, on something that has a concaved surface. If it's got a concaved surface to it, I will use like a chainsaw file, because those are genuinely pretty hard, and they're able to sharpen pretty quick on those type surfaces. It all depends on the chisel itself. But I'll try to do a dedicated video very specifically outlining the sharpening and how to dress them up all the way. Hopefully that helps, Graham. Thank you for being here, and hope you have a good evening. There's somebody else that's talking here. And by the way, I caught you there, Paul's Garage. You're hilarious, dude. Technically, I didn't get $75. James, County Line, you asked, maybe you covered this already. When do you think it is a good point to be at to switch from mom and pop to full time? So I'll try to be just real frank with it and real short with it. It's when your time block is so full that you can scale your business, that you will be able to take care of your personal needs, your personal income off that easily, and then some, with being able to put in an 8 or a 12-hour day at it. If you can do that and you have that many orders, you're missing out on an opportunity getting paid less than what you're worth, because you could scale up. If you get paid $150, $200 a hammer, and you can knock out 8 of those in a 12-hour or 24-hour time spans, right? You can knock out 8 of those. What would you get paid at your day job to do the same thing? That's where you kind of have to decide, and it's a leap of faith at that point, because you may not be able to go back to your boss after you said, "Hey, back with you, dude. I'm so glad I'm never coming back here," and you burn a bridge, right? You burn a bridge. Now you're out on your own. It's a sink or swim, right? If you jump in a puddle, it's going to splash. You just got to see where those waves and where's the dirt and mud going to go at that point in time. So that is a quick way of diagnosing, can you do it? It's not a question, can you do it? Because I'm sure you can. If you get something where you leverage YouTube, you let people know that you have a product, you let people know that you're an honest guy, you let people that it's you and you're working hard and you want to and you want to do this for a living and you want to do those sort of things, and you get an overwhelming amount of work where you've got backlog work and it's coming in and you're starting to turn people away, but you're working for $8.50 an hour or you're working for $12 an hour when you could be working that same time for $300 an hour, you're missing an opportunity. You need to jump ship. You need to jump ship and go. That's just numbers. Keep in mind, that's not always. That's not always. Have you been at it long enough to see the seasons, to see the roll tides? Because you may be great during the summer, but come winter, the bottom of your business falls out on you. Do you have enough products? Do you have enough buffer zone build up to carry you through those dry times? If you do have that, jump ship. Jump ship. Guys like Alex Steele, he jumped ship. Jump ship. YouTube was going to be huge for him. He stopped taking in custom orders. He could make more money, essentially, doing less physical labor. He could maximize the profit per time capita in his company, which now he's a media company. He's bringing you entertainment. He doesn't sell any of his ironwork anymore. And he realized he could make more money doing that. And that's what it comes down to. He could make more money doing YouTube, producing content, selling merchandise, yada, 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 than what he could do ever by just forging hammers for a living. So he switched. He went ahead and made that jump. Liam Hoffman, he's went full-time at what he does. He has several people working for him now. He's a great example of a young smith and a young entrepreneur that is out there crushing it, and he would not be able to do that if he was working at the local Tasty Freeze, right? Mm-hmm. Would you like another scoop with that, sir? If he was doing that, he wouldn't be knocking out 40 axes a week, right? He just wouldn't. He would not be doing that. Mm-hmm. So you have to eventually double down and go all in. You have to double down. You have to go all in on it, and he's able to scale it up. Now he's held up by his workspace. That's where, again, scalability is not the same as marketability. He's got the market. He's trying to build his own dream workshop. If I was him and if he was in this dream, I would tell him, dude, you're losing money hand over fist. You need to drop the whole dream workshop ideal, and you need to go spend all that money on leasing a giant commercial building somewhere that's already built and start there. If you got enough work and orders that you can take and employ like 30 people, and you can just be pumping these things out, and you're backlogged as long as he's backlogged. Playing the waiting game, it's not a good ideal in business. Eventually somebody else will start satisfying that market space. Somebody else will come into there, and it'll be the same thing. They're offering axes. There's already people who are doing that. Mm-hmm. May not be as great as him, but who wants to wait 2 or 3 years for an item? No one does, right? They want it for Christmas or whatever. So every day that he's not in his new workspace, he's losing money, hands over fist.
Mm-hmm.
So his scalability is actually hindered by his circumstance.
Yep.
Shop size, he can't get more equipment. He's confined to this box.
Mm-hmm.
And until he decides, hey, I'm going to buy into a bigger box, he can't scale.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, you're sitting there, you're like, hey, I have to work a 10-hour day.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got to come home, I've got to wash myself, I got to do something, I got to figure something else for myself, got to spend some time with the wife, talk to the kids, the dad, the whatever, the grandpa, pet the dog, the cat, whatever is your thing. When you get home, your daily routine, and then you got to go back to work, right? You got to go back to work. You're in a box. You're in a box. And eventually it takes that leap of faith. You got to hop out of this box and jump into the much bigger box. No matter what, come what may.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of those things. So if you have the client base, if it's bursting at the seams and it just feels like you can't get wind, you can't suck wind, you have to let go of some of the comfort of having a 9-to-5 job. You have to take and let go of some of that comfort to be able to scale up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you know that you're ready to do it as a solid, full-time business. So,
County Line Forge says, I would take a pay cut to be a blacksmith full-time, but I would be a lot happier. So in that instance, I don't believe you said you had a power hammer. You could think about what tools could bring up your efficiency in the shop so that you could make more items for the time you are in the shop. And then perhaps that would make that transition easier for you if you decide to do that. Jeff Sandlin, glad you're able to join us.
Yep, again, I think you were already here once, but yeah, so the topic point was how do you know when to go full-time? How to go full-time, as posed by County Line Forge, James at County Line Forge. So County Line Forge, you own a fence company, but my passion is blacksmithing, and it's starting to pay off. Okay, so here's a great point. So you own a business now. Whether you're an employer or an employee, it's hindering you back from something you want to do. You're going to take a pay cut. Is it worth it to you? If it's worth it to you, do it. Are there other people involved? You have to take that into consideration as well. You jumping ship, will that ruin their livelihoods? Sometimes it takes creative. Maybe you need to step back from that and you need to let somebody else manage it and run it. Because you're too busy micromanaging it. You're too much into the business. You're too much in the business and not enough working on the business. Again, that can limit you from scaling it up. If I have to stay constantly in the shop, 365, I can't remove my feet from in front of that forge, that stops me from being able to quote clients. That stops me from undertaking bigger jobs. That stops me from doing television, taking and doing interviews for television stations like PBS, which I've got one coming up. I've got a video that's going to be coming up and around my Ohio Heritage Fellowship Award that I won back last fall. I've got a PBS spot. I wouldn't be able to call them back. I wouldn't be able to take and do some of the other great opportunities that are coming down the road and coming down the pike and quote things and do stuff like that because I have to be the worker bee. I have to stay constantly at the forge. So with that being said, if your business is, say, fencing, is there somebody you can put in place and therefore you don't have to give up a good, viable business? Is there somebody who can replace you in that business that'll allow you to do more of what you want? Mm-hmm. Or are you a solopreneur with your fencing company? If you're just a solopreneur, you're like one guy, maybe one extra guy that helps you on the weekends or something like that. It's tomato. It's what you want to do. If you're a nurse but you want to be a NASA scientist, you're never going to be a NASA scientist unless you take the leap to be a NASA scientist, even if that means a pay cut at that point in time. Maybe the guy that's doing fencing with you, if you're a solopreneur, you can have him help you over and actually do the blacksmithing side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he'll give you an extra hand. Maybe he'll strike for you. Maybe he'll be your cameraman, right? Maybe he'll do something. You know, you're running a business already. You just have to choose what's right for you. So, hopefully that helps. Dustin Dixon, good night. Thank you for being a part of the stream. We've had quite a few people here, and we thank you all for being part of the stream. Remember, if you're going to leave or if you just came in, to hit the like on here. It helps spread the stream around and allows us to continue to help people with their businesses. We thank you for that.
Jeff Stanley says, by the way, my daughter finally came up with the name Blue Feather Forge, reference to our rescued homing pigeon with a burnt wing, but won't leave and hangs out in the shop.
Ha! That is an awesome name. Cool. Cool. I'd love to see some logos around that and, you know, some branding, and that would be a really neat touch mark. You can see you could probably get a really neat touch mark out of that. Maybe blue just that spot on the feather, like blue it and then sand it, like do like a gun blue in it. Be neat. I like the name. Here, County Line Forge. Unfortunately, no. My partner is, for lack of a better word, and leaving me high and dry. So I'm at a transition point. Well, it sounds like, you know, you may be at the point that God might be moving you somewhere else there, James. It sounds like that's, you know, sometimes, you know, it's better to move before you get kicked. You know, I was at a point I was making good money, or what I thought was good money at the time, doing heating and air conditioning work. I was getting paid $18 an hour, and that was the highest I had ever been paid for doing heating and air conditioning work. I was having my steady paycheck coming in, and I felt a real strong call in my heart that this is what I needed to be doing for a living. I needed to be doing this as a profession. I did not listen. And I went in one day and got slammed for it. I got kicked. 2 months later. 2 months later, I can't, you know, I went into work, streets are wet, got in a car wreck, 6 months of recovery, and, you know, a lot of hard times from there on out to try to take and get this thing built up, and took, you know, charity from friends and a lot of help. And so it was better for me to move. It's better for you to move than get kicked. Just is. You know, it's scary. It's scary. That's why it takes faith, right? Like, it takes that leap of faith. It's scary, right? But you're never going to feel the thrill, the wind through your hair, jumping off that cliff, right? With that parachute, hopefully a parachute attached to your back. You know, you'll never feel that thrill unless you leap off the edge. You can stand on the edge and everybody else will leap right off on by you, and you can sit up there all day long and cook in the hot summer sun. That's just an analogy for you. I highly encourage it. I can't tell you what to do in your business, but it does sound like you are getting out of that business whether you want to or not, but you're resilient, you are resistant to change. And that's just me speaking to you right there, because I know. I'm a rockhead. I am a rockhead. I will ride a subject till it's dead. And I will still ride it. I'll ride it down 6 feet under, baby. And then I'll probably kick it a few times while I'm down there. Until they start filling the hole in on me. Then I climb out. But, you know, so that, I know where you're at on that. I know where you come from. And, you know, those things are big things and they're scary things. And, you know, justifying it to the wife, right? Or the kids, or the parents, or all the other people who are going to take and start speaking into your life that, you know what, you're crazy. Right? I mean, you're going to get that, man. You're going to get that. There was probably people who thought you were crazy when you wanted to start your own fence company. You know? Because it scares the heck out of them, and so they figure you should be terrified. Because they're scared. And so, you know, don't have a failure to launch on something that's a good thing, especially if you feel or you sense that this is your time. Go after it.
Granddad's, there's no faith if there's a parachute.
Yeah, there is, because you don't know if that chute's going to open until you pull the cord. Paul Garage, high and dry. So you'd say you're on the fence with your fencing business. Paul, I love you, dude. You are awesome, man. You know how to break a joke out of just about anything.
Justin Wells asks, so my very first item on Etsy was a knife made from a farrier's rest. Sorry. When I posted the listing, I signed out and went to go find my listing, and it was dead last. LOL, is that normal? Yeah, that's... I don't know if you've been relisting every day. That is one thing that will definitely help get you higher up on the search results. And also, if you can get, try to get at least your first 10 items in your store, that'll help as well. And if there's any little promotional things you can do, like include an extra free little giveaway item, and maybe just promote to some of your friends and family on Facebook to try to get your first couple of purchases as quickly as possible. If you're able to do that, that does help to get a first few sales and feedback and stuff under your belt. But definitely renewing your listing every day, that will help a lot.
Yeah, so same thing for you, James, County Line Forge. Do not make the mistake of being cheap. Do not make the mistake of being cheap on your relisting and on your reposting. It does matter. You need to relist every day. Every day. You need to do a minimum of 10 items. I don't know how many items you have up currently. I need to go check out your Etsy store. By the way, everybody, if you want to take and get a real good quality item, James, he is trying his hardest to make everything he puts out there 100% top notch when it comes to tooling and things like that. So go show him some love over at his Etsy store. James, you can't put the link, but put the name of what it is in the comment section down below for people. It won't allow you to do the link, it'll flag it. So just let that know what that is, and where people can find out about you there. So you could even put your contact info or whatever it is that you want to put there. Just drop that in the comment section. But yeah, don't skimp on the relisting. You have to pay to play the game, and so therefore it is worth its advertisement. It just keeps advertising it, right? And pound for pound, dollar for dollar, it's worth more, in my opinion, than the ads. You buy the ad space, it's comes up, it says you're an ad, it says that you're a highlighted listing or whatever. To me, been doing Etsy for a long time, it's never really helped us that much to do that. It's a bit excessive when you could just pay the 20-cent relisting fee and do it on a circuit of however many items, at least 10 items a day.
Yep.
You're paying $2 a day to play the game. It's not that bad.
Does it cost 20 cents every time you relist? Yes. Although you can get some free listings if you refer a friend to open a shop. Somewhere on the sidebar under the menu there will be a little thing, refer a friend, and if you do that, you get 40 free listings. Yeah, which obviously it helps out at 20 cents each. That definitely helps out. So. And for everybody who's saying that we're awesome and great advice and thank you and stuff, you guys are very welcome. That's what we do these Monday nights for, is to help you all with your business, to help you with your questions and what you need answers for, and encouragement. A lot of what you're going to get is a lot of what we have gotten in our past. Is like, you're doing what? Well, that don't make sense. Well, you're stupid. Well, Dairy Queen's hiring. There's a job right down the road at Payless, that you can stand on an assembly line for 16 hours straight, make good money. See, they don't see necessarily maybe what you're into. And so we are hitting this at a different perspective. For a lot of years, it's been a taboo, basically every year except for maybe this year and last, since we started sharing about our business. It's been a taboo to share about your economy as a blacksmith, where you're selling at, how you're making your money. Once again, that small-minded, narrow focus, I'm the only dude that can do this for you, right? Big old powerful internet, baby. I can Google search and find about 5,000 listings of blacksmiths out there all trying to make a living at it. But if you take all 5,000 of those people and all 5,000 of those search results, or even 150,000 of those search results, and you were to take and drop it into the big old pool of people called 7.8 billion people, it would make a sound like this. You hear that? Did you hear it? Hold on, let me drop it again. Nothing. That's how big that market space is out there, and that's how big the doors are wide open. And each and every one of you have value, and every one of you have a value that you can offer
that you can offer to a potential client out there, to somebody who's like, man, I don't know how I'm going to get this bracket bent, right? They think it's going to be this big, horrible thing, and you're like, dude, I can do that in like 5 minutes for you. You know, really, how much that cost? $10. Oh, sweet! And you know, they're more than willing to pay you, and you just stick it in the fire and go, Argh! And for them, it was insane. The thought process, or they thought they had to buy some cut, that they had to go buy some elaborate, expensive kit or adapter or whatever to make it work. And you, in like literally 2 minutes, you just solved their world's problems. You know, just by sticking something. I've done it. There's a lot of other blacksmiths I've talked to that's been able to do that.
Well, we're pretty close to hitting our 2-hour mark.
Yeah, pretty close. Oh, I'm not tired yet. I could go on for hours and hours.
Lou Richards, have you ever participated in Etsy broadcast sales? If so, did it work for you? No, I don't think so. I'm not familiar with that term, Etsy broadcast sales.
Yep, I don't think we've ever participated in that before.
No, we did some stuff in the Etsy teams earlier on, but not lately.
Corey Shire, James, you should do well if you take that leap because you can blacksmith both right and left hand. LOL. Yeah, that is pretty funny. Okay. And Paul's Garage. But what if I wouldn't pay a dime for anything made by me? Well, good thing the market is not dictated by you, Paul. Because chances are somebody would pay a lot of money for you. So say something like this. Here's a great example for you. So you do 3D printing, right? Oh, by the way, Paul's Garage. If you guys have not checked out Paul's Garage, he does a lot of really cool things over there. He's like right in the middle of like working on a really old van that I would have probably hauled to the scrapper, but he's got like great significance, or he's got, you know, he likes working on stuff like that. He's gotten into that. You know, he's doing some great work over there, but he also does stuff like PLA casting stuff, like maybe not necessarily casting, but he does all sorts of stuff with that 3D printing and whatnot. And like that's a great example. So you may be able to take and offer a 3D printing service if you know something about 3D printing, and for a guy that needs small parts and components made and he doesn't have a 3D printer and he wants to do lost PLA casting, and he can do the casting into things and make parts, like blacksmithing tools or things that are hard to find, right? And you can print these things out and somebody else can cast them. Boom. You're in business, buddy. You're welcome. You're welcome, buddy. That's all I gotta say. You know, go to town. Go to town on it. You'll be glad. You'll be glad that you did.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't hoping to distract you. I was
just go ahead.
At County Lines Forge.
Okay, were you pulling up?
You want to go to? Pulled up currently.
What do you want to take it to screen too?
Sure. There's people commenting on it, so sure, I'll pull it up. Let me switch over here. Yeah, James, I was just looking at your store there for a little bit. Looks like you've been busy adding listings, which is really good. 9 sales already. That's good.
Awesome.
And I like where you're going with your photographs, trying to go for the nice clean background on there. Maybe a little more light to just brighten it up a little bit on some of them. But
also, if you can get somebody to take pictures of it actually hitting hot steel, that would be great. It would be way better than your white background. You know, white background is it's a good clean look. A lot of times white backgrounds are associated with stuff more like eBay and eBay-like items, shoes, box lot things, stuff like that. They're great high-quality photographs, and they do highlight the item very well, and that's why they're very popular in things where you're selling like a particular item, like an electronic, or you're selling something like that. It keeps everything uncluttered, and you can really focus on it. But see if you can't maybe get a few pictures in here of how the item was made, a few in-action shots. That will really help sell that to somebody else. One of the other things you may want to think about, sir, is adding customization for somebody where you can put in their initials or you can stamp in stuff. If you're making a custom-made item, you can get in there and you can say, hey, you know, I will stamp in your initials, or I'll stamp in a wedding date or a whatever, because, you know, it may be a wife wanting to get this hammer for her husband for Christmas, or, you know, yada yada, things like that. A date of special significance. So that's just something that you may want to think about there. But just adding a few couple in-action shots. I'm not sure what they have on listings. Isn't it like 10 photos? You can add up to 10 photos, I think it is.
I think it's 5.
Is it 5 photos?
Upped it to, it may be more now, I think. But.
Yeah, I think I saw somewhere that they said 10. I may be confused. It might be a different website I'm talking about. But, you know, use most of your photos to highlight maybe 3 shots, kind of a turnaround of the hammer or the tool or the item that you're using, and then maybe use up your last 2 shots to be in an in-action shot, or somewhere where you were actually forging or moving that material, and that can really help spice up the photos and help with the buying opinion. So. Yeah,
definitely. I do like that you're using the option there for the drop-down menu where they can select different things. Like for on this one, you know, it's the type of tool steel, which is pretty cool. And then you price it accordingly to what they're going for. And I also noticed back on your main page that you're using the...
Great job, buddy.
You're using the categories over here, which is really good. It's good you're using those. If you could get more than one item in those categories, when somebody looks at one of those listings, it'll recommend that on the sidebar there. So, you know, roses, if you make a rose there, if you do a steel version and then a brass brush version, make the brass brush one, go ahead and make that a separate listing.
Yeah, and then maybe a rainbow colored one, or maybe a painted version or something like that, and then you can kind of like switch that up. So,
Yep. I'll switch us back over.
Yeah, let's switch us back over. I hope you all enjoyed that little peek. You got a free one there. A good little channel review there, James. Hopefully you enjoyed that.
Unannounced.
Yep.
Coffee Forge. My wife got my hammer from James for my birthday. Pretty cool.
Cool. Yep. Yeah, County Line Forge, you said, you mean like take a picture of my tools in use. So like if you're forging, like, you know, you're hammering on a hammer that you're forging, that, you know, because you do it mostly the same ways, do that where you're showing where it's, you know, scale popping up, or things like I'll do that. And thank you for the $20 super chat. We'll get back to you here in just a second, but we want to show you an example picture here real quick. So basically where, you know, you're fullering in a groove, right? So say you're fullering in a groove or something into that hammer, get a snapshot of that. You know what I'm saying? Get a good snapshot of that, and then that way people will say, oh wow, okay, this is a forged item. Sometimes they need that mental connection that to bring it together, that, oh, this dude's like sweating his tail off, right? In North Carolina, he is sweating his tail off to make this happen. So this example right here that Jessica has pulled up here, she's going to pull over, is, you know, like a little custom wrought iron, kind of Thor hammer-ish kind of thing, but it's just a rounding hammer. It's a basic one, but it's got like a little Celtic rune type deal. But you can see the flames flickering in the background, and you've got scale on the front, right, on laying on the anvil. That's what I'm talking about. Even better, bam, hot steel. Bam, hot steel, just like that. In action, me holding it. People get references that way of size and feel. And if you've noticed, we've used forging shots in all these. And then I got an up-close detail, you know, on some of the, you know, details about the hammer. And there's the last one there. Again, I'm at the forge, hammer's finished. Couldn't you imagine yourself holding and wielding this hammer? There you go.
Yep.
So try to think about doing some things like that and setting up some shots. Have your wife take the pictures, or have a buddy or a friend, somebody that you know, and hopefully that'll help. And man, I really hope you had a pen and a piece of paper while we were saying all this. Or watch this on the replay 20 times. And yes, everybody give James at County Line Forge a good hand clap. And I think we missed a couple people up here. Can you
back up a little bit?
Help a little bit?
Let's see. Do we start with?
So go up here. Sarah Mike G asks, anytime that you'd like us to check out your Etsy shop there, Mike G and Sarah, we'd love to do that as well and check it out. Continue. Kevin Smith had asked a question.
Sure. Hey, just figured this would be the best opportunity to ask. What would be the best piece of advice you could give to an aspiring smith? Taking a leap like this at 19 is nerve-wracking to say the least.
So the best advice to take and do is, the fear of failure, the fear of failing at something can be very crippling, but you know what I fear worse is the fear of what if. It's what if I get down, what if I get to the end of my life and I didn't do what I wanted to do? Because in my view, you have three spins on this rock, and that's it. You get your first 30 years where you're trying to make something of yourself. You get your second 30 years where you're reflecting back on everything you've done, and you're trying to do it better. You're trying to be wiser. You're trying to invest more into people and things around you, especially as you get, your values change in your second cycle of 30 years. And we're not guaranteed that third 30 years. Yeah, that means 90, right? Getting all the way up to 90. Maybe you live that long. Count it as a pure blessing that you do. But you don't want to get any of those points and say, gosh, I wish I would have done that one thing. I ended up working 40 years in a factory and I hated it. It's okay if you love that type of work, or if you're doing exactly what it is that you wanted to do, that you studied for, and that is your vocation. That is okay. Be proud of that. You don't have to make $1 million a year to be a happy person, and you don't have to make $1 million a year. And this is advice. So be writing this down. Write this on your heart, because it's true. It is better to take and be satisfied at the end of your life knowing that you took and you did the things that you can be proud of, than to come up short at the end of life and say, man, I worked for a guy I hated, right, for like 40 years of my life, and I still never got that sense of fulfillment or joy or any of that type things. And so, don't do that. Now, more than any other time in history, do you have, right now at the age of 19, you have the opportunity to not have to work maybe like your dad had to, or like your grandpa had to, where it was just a necessity of life. No one cared about whether you wanted to go and be a rocket scientist. No, you were born of a certain class, you were stuck at a certain level, and you got used to that fact that you were stuck there. There was a ceiling. It was called life. It was going to hold you down. Your class, your political stature, your nature, your whatever, it held you back. You were repressed to, if you were a white-collar worker, that was all you were ever going to be. It would be unheard of for you to go dig ditches for a living. If your dad was an engineer, guess what? You were going to be an engineer, buddy. You didn't get a choice. At no time ever in history has there ever been such a chance for you to be able to go out and do what you want to do. Don't give up all the years of your life, and especially your youth and your good working years and your productivity time working on something that you don't care about. Mm-hmm. That's my biggest advice to you. If you want to get into blacksmithing, you want to take that leap, you need to do it with the vigor, and you need to know that that's something you really want to do. If it's something you really want to do, you're not going to fail. You will never fail at what you're passionate about. Ever. You may not make a lot of money. People may not get you. People may not understand what it is that you love so much about it, but you will never fail at it. Never once. You'll never fail at it. You may end up making hooks for a living. That might be all you can do. Or, you may end up making bridges. I know a guy that's what he does. He builds bridges. He's a rivet guy. He's one of the top ones in the nation, and that's his whole thing. He goes around, he'll sell jobs, and he's licensed to work on historical bridges, and he puts in the rivet work. When there's rivets that need to be replaced and redone and new pieces slapped on and that and stuff, he's contracted out to do that type of work. He loves it. He loves it. He's passionate about it. He does other ornamentally things in the meantime, but he loves the bridge work. I mean, he salivates practically about just thinking about it. again, weird dude, right? Like, he'd be like, who cares about a bridge, right? And rivet work, but that's his thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he spent the last 30 years of his life working towards that thing. Can't fail at it. Can't fail at it if you're passionate about it. Hopefully that helps you. I know the stream's running a little longer. I hope that's okay with everybody. Where's that? Where's the $20? Okay. County Line Forge, thank you again for the $20 super chat. Again, God bless you, brother. I really hope it's gonna go well for you. Take all the advice. Watch this stream again and again. If you need to get those note take next time you watch it through. You know, and you're gonna do just fine, sir. You're gonna do just fine.
Thank you for the compliment on my pictures. It's actually, I was using a digital SLR camera, an older one, a D7000. But they do get some really nice, does a really good job of taking some nice pictures with some bokeh, a blurry background.
Yep. So here, Jeff Sandling said. Did we already answer that one?
No. He said, sorry, hit send by accident, but my work, I have been told I could make some decent money and have been pressured to join our local blacksmith association.
Where do you work, Jeff Sandling? Just by question. Answer the question. Swim baiting, Ohio. Roy, do you listen to music when you work? Sometimes, yes. A lot of times I do. Basically, when it's on long, monotonous jobs that won't kill me. So a lot of times when I'm in front of something like a power hammer or press, I'm busy listening to the noises of that equipment. So this way, for safety reasons. When I'm doing stuff that is more mundane, I'm filing or I'm sanding something, something with lower risk of injury to myself, I listen to music or podcasts, things like that. I haven't gotten into audiobooks yet. I've heard a lot of great things about Audible. I might do that at some point, but we'll see.
Paul's garage, I just hit 30 and I'm reflecting on how stupid I was the first 30. Coffee's poured.
Yeah, I'm getting there, Paul.
Plenty more time for stupid stuff. Mr. Coffee said.
Granddad's Forge, that's a heavy line to dump on a brother, Roy. Yeah, it is. It's a heavy line, but it's true. What else we got?
Kevin Smith, thanks a ton, you guys. Gonna tack this sheet of paper up in my garage somewhere.
Good. Awesome. Cool.
Get yourself a notebook. You can write Roy and Jess streams on it.
Yeah.
Keep all your notes in it.
You're talking to a disgruntled truck driver with golden handcuffs, but I don't want to die doing this. Yeah. I mean, if you don't want to die doing it, now's the time to start figuring out where you want to be. You got to figure out where you want to be. And like I said, that may look drastically different from where you are. But again, we don't get time back. We don't get time back. You'll never get time back. Just won't. If you missed your kids growing up, they're grown. I mean, they're gone. You can't repress them back to being a 2-year-old, right? You'll never get time back. You just never get it back. So that is the most precious and valuable commodity that you own. Yes, that's right. You own it, and it can be removed from you. It can be taken from you. I mean, we're Christians. We believe God can call us up yonder any day, man, any time. And no, I'm not just talking about rapture either. I'm talking like he can just you get hit by a bus. I could pull out of my driveway tomorrow, get hit by a grain truck, be dead. You could get some sort of sickness. You could get some sort of illness out of somewhere that you never thought. Sad story. There was a young kid, 16, pulled out, had kind of like a big jacked up truck, kind of like a big old muscle truck, just right up here in Brookville, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
We heard this at our at a Sunday morning service, and it was asked for prayer for him, but. Everything was fine. He was heading to a friend's house. He stopped to get gasoline. He just finished filling up the truck. He went to go step up in the truck, and his feet slipped between the step bar, and he fell backwards, and he hit his head on the concrete there, and busted his head wide open.
Mm-hmm.
Busted his head wide open. He was in a coma. last time we heard, and was not doing well at all. Not doing well at all. So big prayers for him too. I forget his name since last Sunday. We had it on our notes. I didn't mean to share this, but this is a perfect example. That's a 16-year-old kid, man. 16 years. I am blessed to be 30, dude, this year. At any point, I can look way back in my history. There's a lot of things I did that I shouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now. Right? Like, there's a lot of stuff I did, like, whoa, man, I was dumb. Just dumb. That could have ended badly. Very, very badly. But, I'm blessed to be here at the age of 30, right? And so, don't waste it. And that kid may never walk again. That kid may never wake up from a coma. Maybe he's cut short, right? But that's where time is precious, and we forget that. But you have to look at that when you're thinking about stuff like a business. Where do I want to be in life? Do I want to do this? Do I want to do blacksmithing? It's okay. You don't have to do blacksmithing for a living. Maybe you want to do underwater basket weaving. You know what? Somebody should start that. So that is an actual thing. Underwater basket weaving, because we say that as a joke, but how hilarious would it be if there's actually an Underwater Basket Weavers Association of America or something like that, and they're like literally weaving baskets right now, saying, oh man, someone's talking crud about us again. So if that's what you want to do, that's what you should do. Money's not everything. Time is. Don't lose out on time. It's your precious commodity.
I think there's quite a few people who are like you. It's a B&B Forges. That was most of my teen years. Paul's Garage, agreed, Roy. I could have died like 1,000 times. Never know when your time is up.
Yep, exactly right, Paul's Garage. Heck, if you guys watch a lot of Paul's Garage videos, he could die at any second. It's intense. I'm just joking, Paul. I'm trying to get you some extra views. People will go over there. He almost dies at every second. I gotta go check this out. Just gotta lighten the mood a little bit, but it is a heavy air thing, so.
County Line Forge, these streams are awesome to listen to unless you just love staring at Roy. I play them in my headphones while I'm grinding a lot.
That's cool.
Mike G. Jess, is it good for your Etsy thumbnail photos to have all the same background so to make your listings distinctly yours? You don't necessarily have to. It could be a good theme to kind of tie your store together. We talked about setting the mood of your online store in one video last year. So, that is one way you could do it. I wouldn't say you necessarily have to, but if you look through our listings, we do have a lot of similar type backgrounds throughout the whole thing. So, you could go for it if you want to. Jeff Sandling, I found a 16-year-old kid trying to get started. I shared what I could based on what I've learned so far. I'd love to make a living at this, but if God's plan is just sharing, I'm okay with that.
Yep, and that's perfectly okay too. It's perfectly okay too. I talk a lot about business with blacksmithing. Blacksmithing is one of those loves. I have a love for the craft of blacksmithing. I love manipulating metal. I love the process. Not so much the end project, like I'm okay with that, but then it's over, and then the fun stops, and then I have to go and make something else in order to find enjoyment again. And so, for me, I'm in love with the process of blacksmithing. Money does come secondary to that, but it is still very relevant, right? Like, everybody's got to eat, everybody's got to, put gas in their vehicle, and you got to pay for coal, and yada, yada, yada. That's just stuff. That's just stuff of life. But, you don't have to feel compelled like, hey, well, I'm missing out because I'm working at a factory. Maybe you like your job, man. If you like your job, you like your career that you're at, stay, man. Stay. Be the best darn employee you can be. Work your way up through the ranks. Maybe you just like, you like that one job you do. You're a safety line inspector. You've got options that you could become a CEO of the company, but that doesn't interest you. You just like being in the safety line inspector type thing. do what you do, man, but just do it the best that you can and be passionate about it and enjoy it. And don't let no one steal that joy from you. Don't let other coworkers or nasty attitudes or, what people think of you steal that joy. Just continue to enjoy what it is that you're doing. A lot of times people people will accuse me a little bit of like disconnect or like I'm a sellout kind of thing, which is I just find that hilarious. I really do. It kind of bugged me at first, but I'm like, yeah, I can see it. I'm totally sold out. I'm sold out to what I'm saying. I'm sold out to helping guys. I'm sold out to helping gals out there. I'm sold out to helping anybody who's wanting to be an entrepreneur. And I'm sold out to the whole thought and the concept of business, and that yes, you can make a living, and yes, you can make a darn good living at blacksmithing or at craft. And all that it requires is your work ethic and your intensity and your time put in and your love of it and your passion. You do that, you throw all those together, that time and that intensity and that passion, and we're Christians, so we believe that's all multiplied by God. And so you throw all that mixture together, man, what a powerful mixture that is. The same people who were kind of like sneering and jeering you and kind of giggling at you, right, because you were starting a company and they're like, yeah, that'll never work out. Now all of a sudden you're driving through their neighborhood in a Ferrari, they want to be your friend, right? Mm-hmm. If that's your status symbol of choice, right? Mm-hmm. I still drive around in a little old 5 Jeep because the thing's great. Mm-hmm. I love the little booger, right?
Yeah.
The bumper's hanging off the front, but I'll zip tie it back up for another day, darn it, because I love that little 05 Jeep. If I was a millionaire tomorrow, I'd still be in the 05 Jeep. Mm-hmm. Liberty. Really would.
Paul's Garage. Yeah, this Roy guy selling out, giving us all these free videos and advice.
Total sellout. I'm a horrible human being. Sitting here. So I'm glad, Mike Taylor. I'm glad this help is very that it's very well received by you. Hope you enjoy it.
Curtis DeVault, my day job is IT for contracted public sector, so yeah, blacksmithing is a great stress relief. We've heard that before. Some people, they just like to be able to just beat stuff, and not have to worry about being perfect. Blacksmithing's not perfect. You can just mash the metal until it resembles or doesn't resemble anything.
Most likely it won't resemble anything when you're done mashing it, but yeah. Yeah, if it saves you on prescription drugs for your mental habit, it's a cheap alternative. You keep that rusty van, Paul. Yep. Versus that Ferrari. Driving through there. They just charge you more on that Ferrari anyhow. Your insurance payments are $1,000 a month, Yeah, definitely want that just to look good, right? Driving down the road. And really, honestly, who looks good in a Ferrari anyhow? Let's face it, gentlemen. We ain't models. I don't care how good the Ferrari looks. You don't look good in it. Save your money. Go with something a little more your speed. A good old Yugo or a Yaris or something like that. Stick with something a little more your speed.
That was an interesting turn of events.
It was. I just picked on everybody's physical appearance, didn't I?
Yes.
I'm just being honest, being real.
I can't see there anything besides their little icons there. So.
No, but based and judged upon the quality of the icons, that's what we can see. I'm just joking. I'm messing with people now. I'm having a good time. I am having a good time on this live stream. How about you, honey?
Yep, I am. Paul's Garage van insurance is seriously $15 a month. Dang, you got some cheap insurance.
Well, hey, Paul, you need to have them come out and audit it. Come out and take a look at it, and they might lower your rate for you a bit. Especially when you got everything tore off of it. Then you're like, yeah, I want to insure this. They'll be like, yeah, $5 a month.
Mike Taylor. Wait, I couldn't be a model?
I don't know. Could you, Mike Taylor? Don't nobody send us pictures of yourself, please. We don't need no glamour shots coming through the mail. Oh, man. So this has been a great stream. Hopefully this this concept video about six figures has been helpful. If you all would love us to do another video, another live stream, so we can talk more about the scalability aspect and kind of just throw a few numbers out there, some bigger numbers, to talk about how you actually get that up and keep upping that, we can do that. I won't go into it again because we'll be here another hour, basically. And I know nobody wants to take and listen to me for another hour, huh?
Mm-hmm. We have to get our kids to bed.
Okay, so here's where we're a sellout. We are sellouts, okay? So we're hoping we will sell out, which is a physical impossibility through Teespring, but you guys can give it a good college try.
Empty their warehouse.
Yeah, empty their warehouse of these type t-shirts. See? That's a face a mother can trust.
Right there.
Right there, that face.
Mama.
If you guys want to support the channel in that way and get some merch, like I said, we have the new stuff up. We're going to go into just a small sales pitch, so feel free to jump off anytime because I know that's not some people's thing. We've got the Get It Hot, Hit It Hard shirt that Jessica's rocking over here. We thank you all so much for being a part of the channel, being a part of this stream especially. I mean, you know, I just love talking to you people out there. And I say you people because you're people of all kinds out there. And I love every last one of you. Yeah, everybody's saying no photos. Okay, so yeah, I agree on Pepper said, Roy, you said about chasing tools. I'll go ahead and answer you again real quick, Graham. I had talked about the chasing tools. You sent me a message about it, you know, on the comment section talking about wanting to see how they were sharpened. I will do a very specific video around that, but just to help you out in the meantime, usually I use a chainsaw file on anything that is concaved. And I use a stone, like a sharpening stone type deal, or a coarse stone for anything that is flat or convexed in nature. I use that to sharpen them out afterwards. If you have a belt sander, you can do that. Be very careful when you're working with small edges that you don't glue it very quickly. One great option for this, and actually Tom Latney uses this, I didn't share it earlier, is one of those little hand crank grinders. Those are actually not meant to, you know, power off stuff. Those were actually meant to sharpen. They're a rotary sharpener basically, and so, you know, you can hand crank it and you can sharpen stuff out like that on a stone, and that is a great way of taking and doing that. So hopefully that'll help you. Remember, you don't have to go razor sharp with it because it is going to bite into steel. It's better that it not be too sharp. You know, because you can chip an edge off or something like that. So, you know, you don't have to go razor. I'm going to cut myself sharp with it here, right? Like, you don't need to take and go that sharp. It can be a little on the dullish side of things, and that'll help protect the edge or let the edge stand up to the chasing better. So hopefully that will help. So, do you want to go over and show them real quick?
Sure.
Show them our website. So for those of you that don't know, most of you do. There's a few new people in the stream, but we will show you. This is our, are we on to our scene?
I'm setting it up. There we go.
Okay, here we go. So this is our Blacksmith PDFs page by Christ and Ironworks. This is our new layout, isn't it, Jessica?
Yes, it is. I've been working on that.
So she's been working real hard at bringing this out there for you guys. And we have kind of reorganized some of the photos and the way things are actually met. So if you get a chance, go check out the website. A lot of new things are up there. There's some neat things coming soon, like private lessons. We're still working on that. Digital downloads is now over to the right with the little digital computer thing. Yeah, and that is where you will find all the digital downloads, like the popular Blacksmith cheat sheet, 50 hand-forged items that you can forge with all the SEO, search engine optimization and stuff. Calendar of events. You want to keep going? I'll let you talk some, so this way I'm not talking so much.
Also, I put a little link here to the merchandise. When you click on this, it actually just jumps over to our Teespring. But I wanted to include it there just because it's a nice centralized location. Yep.
So all you have to do is go to this one spot. You can click there, and it will send you right over to the Teespring store with all the merchandise in it. It's a great way of landing it versus having to click endless links on shirts in the description box down below. We're also offering, consultations, for like business consultations, if you're trying to get a hold of me by phone. So I am a notoriously bad phone person, but if I can get my time paid for and I can schedule it out, I can take phone calls usually. And so we are starting to offer that as well. It could be business strategies, it could be blacksmithing questions, or any other similar topics as well. Just offering that as a resource to people, because some people do better just on the phone.
Yeah.
They just do better trying like, hey, I got this question, I don't want to wait 2 weeks for you to email me back. So, so sometimes that can be a good way of doing that. She's got an ebook section that's categorized out. Right now, there's only one ebook, but there's a bunch more coming.
Yes, there
that
is.
She's been working on the back end.
Yep. Then actually, the newest ebook's gonna be announced next month, so I won't say too much yet. But it's coming in July.
Exciting. Yep. See, aren't we sellouts? I'm a sellout. I'm telling you. So I am offering you all value. Complete sellout. Oh. Yep. So why don't you tell me a little bit more about what's going on there?
The one that says blacksmith teacher and the one that says blacksmith demonstrator, those are kind of a bio specific to those types of things. So, for example, the blacksmith teacher one, it gives examples of the different classes Roy has taught. So if you have a blacksmithing group and they would like to host Roy, or you'd like to suggest for them to host Roy to have a class there, they can come in and read kind of his bio on teaching. It's also got quite a few photos, a slideshow, and it may have a video in there as well. And the same is true with blacksmithing demonstrator, whether it's for a private event,
like club demonstrations, private events, things like that. Basically, that's like if some sort of city wanted to get in contact with me, like they could go here, they'd find it, and they could just click right through that link. Or if a blacksmithing organization or club wanted to take and have me specifically as like a monthly demonstrator or something like that, that's where they would click to find there. Basically, it's a resource stuff. You can feel free to share stuff like that and share these. I think they have a link somewhere embedded that you can share if you've got someone on your board or your county or your whatever your local blacksmithing club type thing that maybe you want to have me out as a demonstrator someday. They can get in contact with me through that there, and you can share that link with them. The other thing is our Amazon affiliate page. So it does go to help the channel again. These are affiliate links. Basically, if you purchase it on Amazon through one of these links, we get a very small commission. I forget what that is. The commission is what, like 3%?
Yeah, it's around 5%.
It's a 3 to 5% commission. Will go whatever that dollar amount is will go back to us, basically.
Yep. And there's things in there like
for
the
directing
tooling
traffic.
you use. Things like the tooling you use. Some of the stuff in there is recommended for a specific build from the.
And she's wrote descriptions under almost everything in there.
If you hover above it, it kind of says a little.
It'll tell what it's like recommended for or why it's there. Real clear on this. The only stuff that I put in there is the stuff that I have used in my shop. The stuff I have personally used on a daily basis, or something that I have used and worked out well for a build. So say a power hammer build or something that one of my other tooling related builds in the PDF sheets, you can click in one location and you can find out pretty much all the tools that I use on a daily basis in my shop right there. So, and then last but not least, go down.
Link to the YouTube. And
then that's just our link to our video library on YouTube. Now we're going to click back over and there's going to be 4 people watching.
Oh, I don't know.
You think? You think there will be 4 people watching?
Let's find out.
You think they all jumped ship?
Oh, we still got 27.
Hey! We didn't lose everybody.
No.
Graham Pepper. Keep selling out, Roy LOL. Corey Shire. I do have a link for lessons. I have not activated that yet, so that is just a placeholder. I do intend on offering like a private lessons. It'd be like a 4-hour forging session, or like a 4 to 6 hour max kind of forging session type deal, and maybe doing 2 of those a month or something. At first, I'm hoping to get more into teaching and just doing more teaching and instructing and demonstrating. I'm still going to do my regular blacksmithing business, but I'm trying to get out of my production end of blacksmithing and get more into the teaching end of it, where I can help guys learn and benefit them even better in their business. Teach them how they can make money as well. In person, hands-on kind of thing. That's kind of where I'm going with that. So that will be coming hopefully soon. I still have to get it approved with landlord, and we're still talking about that. So, and how that looks like and all that fun stuff.
County Line Forge, you're just like me, I think, Roy. If you're breathing, you're looking for a way to move forward in life for yourself and your family.
Yep. Always be hustling, brother. Yep. Always be hustling.
It takes a while to train your mind to think that way. Like at first, it was just one thing. It was eBay for us, and that was a big enough step. But
yeah. And and there's a good topic for another stream. And basically, I'm probably going to get some hate comments on this stream for anybody who watches it afterwards. Luckily, YouTube doesn't distribute them too well after a live stream's over with. Otherwise, I'd probably get a bunch of trolling. But there is a bit of an ethical concern that people have with making money. And it's really funny, and it's oxymoronic, and you can get rid of oxy and just call it moronic, because that's what it is. There's this whole aspect around it of, that anybody who looks or appears to be doing better than you has gotten it by ill-gotten gains. Like, they didn't sweat enough, they didn't bleed enough, they didn't work enough, they didn't they didn't strive enough, they didn't take enough time away from their kids and their whatever, right? While you're busy sitting there clicking the remote on the couch, there was somebody working till midnight every night for like 6 years building a business on the back end. And now, just because they've got a Ferrari and an outdoor or like an indoor swimming pool at their house, now all of a sudden they're evil, right? And so there's a bit of a moral kind of complaint, and that's going to be a subject for a whole nother live stream, and I plan on ranting a lot about that because I get it all the time being a Christian. In fact, I had a guy basically like slam me, about like, yeah, you're real humble, I just came back from your store, and good Lord, with those prices, right? And I don't remember his whole comment. I'm not going to give him too much credit for it because, again, wherever, right? Like, that doesn't bug me that much. It did bug me at first and at time, but again, it interestingly enough highlights a part of our human psyche. We see people and we demonize people who have wealth, or we demonize people as like they must have got that from their parents, or like it was a generational thing, right? In this time right now, there's never been more, and by the way, 98% of people who you would consider are wealthy in America, and I'm talking like millionaires, are first-time millionaires. They're first-generation millionaires. No, they didn't come from old salt, right? They didn't have a great rich uncle that died, the greedy little money bags over there that was hoarding it under his pillow every night, right? Like sleeping on gold bars. They didn't have that. No, through hard work, determination, effort, work ethic, right, sacrifice, and a lot of it, they're millionaires, or they're multimillionaires, or they're billionaires. For the first generation, they are the first generation. Their kids will have the benefit of being that evil rich person that got rich all of a sudden for no reason and no work. So you've got to eliminate that from your vocabulary when you're doing it as a business. You have to understand that guy that drives into work, he gets paid a wage for a day. He hates his boss because his boss is in Maui, but his boss has provided him a $75,000 a year income and was still able to pay himself and was still able to pay 14 other employees and their families and support them. That jerk, how dare he go to Tahiti, right? You have got to eliminate that in your mindset when you are an entrepreneur. You are the boss. You are the employee. You are the janitor. You are the office girl, right? Or the office guy. You are the, you know what I mean? You are the bus boy of your own business. You are all those things. And when you do start running your own business, you start realizing the sacrifices and the things that it takes to do it, but how worth it is. I doubt most bosses go home at night and thinking, I can't wait to hose my employees over more tomorrow. You know what I mean? No. No, they don't think about that. They lay up in the middle of the night and think, how am I going to keep this thing going yet another day? How am I going to fit in my kid's softball game, when there's trouble at the office? Like, that's what they lay up at night concerning themselves with. So, get that out of your mind. That'll be a rant and a whole thing for another day. Trust me, that's a tip of the iceberg there, fellas, on that. The morality about making money, humility's not tied to a dollar amount. It's not. In that case, every human being that lives in America is like not humble at all. You're living the high life. Because there's people living all across around the world that they woke up today and they had like rice soup for like the 364th day. Yeah. Right? So you're rich. You're that greedy guy, even though you're making $20,000 a year and you can barely make it by. So perspective. Yeah. Perspective. Leave that with you. Happy note. Go buy my merch. So this way I'm not the $20,000 guy. I'm the guy. Right? That's what I'd be. Jessica is just cracking up.
Oh. You're talking about welding an anvil instead of, or the Ferrari. Coffee's Ferrari.
Coffee with a big anvil decal on the hood. Oh, that'd be great. Oh. Man, they went off on a tangent about, welding an anvil on the front of the hood. There you go. You know what? I can do that on the Jeep. Maybe I'll do that on the Jeep.
I'll put
like a big anvil. It'll be a big golden anvil that just says bling.
That'd be something
with some gold chains to hang on. I think it'd be great.
It would be something.
Paint it up real nice.
Nobody could miss you.
Nobody could miss me. They would say, look at that right there, Irma. That's the biggest tool I've ever seen.
You better put like our YouTube channel name on the side of it or something. Get extra promotion.
That'd be bad. So, all right. Well, before we lose any more people to our charades, hopefully everybody enjoys that and enjoyed my little rant. Yeah, it says every internet troll ever. So, all right, cool. So, real quick, if you enjoyed the stream, leave a big thumbs up in the comment section. Make sure to hit the like button on your way out. Chat amongst yourselves. This upcoming week's live stream on Friday evening, I am hoping to be able to do my wrought iron hammer, get the cheek pieces welded on. I don't know if we'll go as far as getting the faces welded on. We'll see.
Yeah.
Based upon how hot the forge is and how good we are to go, I'm hoping that it will go very well. We'll have to see. But just again, remember to leave that like on the way out. Make sure to be at the Friday night live stream if you can, if you're not already at the Urbana conference by then. I know that's going on this week, so we'll see how it goes. If you can't be there, watch it on the replay. It's still be a good time, one way or the other. A lot of molten metal will be moved by hand. So, really looking forward to it. You have 46 likes, so done well, Roy. Yeah, cool. 46 likes. Thanks so much for every last one of you.
Yep. Maxwell Davis Marsh, thanks for joining us.
Yep. And Billy Strong, you're right. I need my nephew to take and start selling some merch for me.
We do.
He would do it well. We'll pay him for
There we go.
There we go.
They have them in kid sizes, so.
Yeah, we'll get him some merch. He'll sell it. He'll sell the heck out of it.
Yeah, he would.
I love that little booger. He's great. And people still talking about the hood ornament. Well, yeah. We will let you talk amongst yourselves. Watch it on the replay if you will. Thank you all so much. We love each and every last one of you. We hope that you will go out. You'll be blessed today. You will succeed today and tomorrow and wherever you're at in the world. I say today because there's other people around the world where it's like it's their daytime.
Yeah.
Tonight, tomorrow, the rest of this week, we hope you all will be very, very blessed in not only your business, but any of the decisions that you guys decide to make this upcoming week. So, without further ado, we're out of here.
Yeah.
Aren't we out of here?
Yes, we're out of here. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right. God bless you all, and good night. We'll catch you next time.